The Lord wants you to say you're sorry today and just do better tomorrow.
Point is that after making a mistake, we need to face up to it. We need to tell the truth. That is integrity, telling the truth and honoring promises no matter the consequences.
Chad, do you have anything to say?
I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Oh! Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments.
He basically dropped that tell him to put it down. Like, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. And then he just came back, yeah, you shot. Yeah, okay. Call me a Call me a Call me a
I don't know how to stop. I just go till I drop. Whether it's working or shots, give it all that I got. You can watch me work in my element. Anyone in the way is irrelevant. Wanna cross me, cool, not intelligent. Cause I don't forget shit like an elephant. Go ahead and tempt me. Put it on the line and you'll come up empty. If I got time, I'm deadly. Never caught off guard, no, I'm always ready. I got a hand real steady. Look me in the eye and you'll see no hezzy. About to get real messy. I'll put you in a grave 6 feet like Kenny.
Call me a Call me a Call me a
I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Oh! Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way. I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation.
Call me a Call me a Call me a Call me a
I don't know how to stop. I just go till I drop. Whether it's working or shots, give it all that I got. You can watch me work in my element. Anyone in the way is irrelevant. Wanna cross me, cool, not intelligent. Cause I don't forget shit like an elephant. Go ahead and tempt me. Put it on the line and you'll come up empty. If I got time, I'm deadly. Never caught off guard, no, I'm always ready. I got a hand real steady. Look me in the eye and you'll see no hezzy. About to get real messy. I'll put you in a grave 6 feet like Kenny.
Call me a Call me a Call me a
What's
Jojo,
up,
you good? Give
everybody?
me another
Oh,
one. Yeah.
I forgot. Sure. Oh, that was so cute. I haven't seen. I had that. Oh gosh. Okay, y'all. I kind of rearranged. I know, not much, but my body can feel it, and everything is out of whack. So I'm just trying to figure out my surroundings here. That's what took me so long today. Actually, I was ready, but not. So, how are you? How are y'all doing? How's it going? Yeah. It's beautiful here too. I'm glad to have my fiance back again. He's doing much better. Thank y'all for the prayers and the well wishes and just all the, you know what you do. And it's awesome. And I can't thank y'all enough. Hey, Jansky. So change of plans, right? As far as court tomorrow. So what we're going to do, I put it on a thing right here so I can show you guys. And basically the court order from Judge Boyce reads, it's an order for tomorrow. Court is in session tomorrow, and it starts at 10 a.m. However, let me read what I wrote. Per a directive from Judge Boyce, live streaming from the court will not be possible due to the large prospective jury panel. However, the court will remain open to the public and will follow the court's ticketing reservation system. The decision to not allow cameras during the preemptory challenge is to safeguard the anonymity of potential jury members throughout the process. There will be no live court session on Monday, like it won't be streamed from the courtroom. However, people that had already did the court's, ticket system or whatever, the lottery thingy, they're still going to have open court, just not, I guess, because there's so many people, prospective jurors, they don't want to risk, catching them on camera. And I can understand that. However, my knee-jerk reaction was to, do it audio like they did with Lori. But, hey, whatever. So we had kind of, me and my mods or whatever, we had talked in our text chat earlier. I mean, vaguely, I didn't even go back to see, so I hope it's okay. If not, I mean, I'll be here, and I know some, if not all, will be here tomorrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to go live at 10 Mountain Time, just like we would if there were streaming court. I'm sorry. And what we'll do is we'll kind of update you guys with the tweets if y'all want to do it that way. Just let me know. And we'll go from there. It's up to you guys, if not, we're just sitting here reading to ourselves and filming it. So, you know what I mean? We all want to be informed and stay informed. So, why not? We already planned it anyway. So look at my mess, man. Anyways, it's good to see you guys. I'm sorry about Friday too. I was out. I mean, I was just, first of all, when I ended Thursday, I moved. This is an L-shaped desk, okay, with a big old case on it right here. It's got the sliding things. And anyways, well, I dismantled everything because that's what I do when I have nervous energy. I clean. I don't know. I fidget. And so what I did was I cleared everything off, moved it into the living room. So, I mean, I had a whole mess strung from here all the way to the kitchen. Okay. And so, anyways, and I mean, I just normally don't do these kind of things anymore. But so what I did was I got everything off of it and I was like, all right, got this, So I went to pick this thing up and I was like, yeah, no, that's a bruise, I got bruises everywhere. Anyways, and I mean, I've always been like this anyways. So, I mean, it's kind of what you get. But I got between the wall and the desk and I was like, and then, use your hips and a whole lot of grunting and cussing at inanimate objects and things that I hit my elbow on. But anyways, I cut my blinds. They're hung. Okay. And that's all that matters. So got all that done. Jason came home the next day and I was like, I'm so sorry, but the house is a wreck. Okay. So, I mean, we got something to eat. We came home And then we, like some old people, we took a nap. And that was that was Saturday. And then he's just feeling so much better. He's on. So this is what happened. Okay. For anybody wanting to know, I know some of you guys want to know. So I thought it was, or we thought it was, like when I went up to the ICU to visit him, they told us, the nurse talked to me for a hot minute. I mean, you can only be there for 30 minutes. And I mean, she talked to me for a good 10. Okay. Very nice. Jason I loved the way they treated him there. I mean, so that was a stark difference from what it was before at the other hospital. So I didn't know patient dumping was a thing, but hello. Thank you. Thank you, Beach Mom and TS Jackson. I'm so sorry. But, so the nurse told me that, his, esophagus was inflamed and that he had herniate. I don't know how to say it. A hiatus. Huggy Bear will be able to tell me. Something like that. A hiatus hernia, and so it's right where you digest food. It goes to your diaphragm, and that's that predicament. But that was just the overlying problems or whatever. The underlying problem, which they found after, Thursday, after I talked to you guys last, it was he aspirated. His right lung collapsed again. This was why he had a thoracotomy back when Lori was extradited from Hawaii to here. Hey, Jen Lou. Hey, girl. I'm so glad to see you. I always go back and watch the Melanie Gibb roast. I love it. Oh, a hiatal hernia and aspiration pneumonia. So he's on antibiotics, some pretty strong ones. I mean, but come on. His regular hospital that we go to, that I dropped him off Wednesday, I think it was, right? I don't know my days now. When I dropped him off, and then Mom showed up during the live stream, and all that. They basically didn't even treat him. They didn't test him for anything. I want to say maybe they drew his blood. I'll have to go look again. I don't remember. And anyways, and then they just basically gave him a shot of Dilaudid, and then, they said that he hit a nurse, and I was like, what? That, I mean, if so, I mean, that's not Jason at all. He is not violent with anybody or me or the kids, or never. I mean, that's so out of character for him. And so anyways, so, to have my mom show up here and she's got Jason in the back, and I'm like, what is going on? And turns out they just willed him, I guess because that happened. I mean, I got to take their word for it. He's out of it because they incapacitated him, but didn't treat him. And then he ends up aspirating. Okay. Holy shit. Sorry, but damn. I mean, that really pisses me off because it's messing with my own, Thank you, Fancy Nancy. Damn. I have a mosquito in here. Yay. Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I'm so glad to see you. I hope you've had a good weekend with your Danny. I'm glad. Thank you. Yes. So we've had, just really good past 2 days. Oh my God. It's driving me crazy. So anyways, I mean, I really have enjoyed him here. And anyways, so for what it's worth, aspiration pneumonia will quickly turn into sepsis. Yes, crushes. This is their fault. It's not their fault for him being sick, but it's they have a lot of culpability because they just tossed him out like trash. And I mean, that pisses me off because you're sick. You don't even feel like being there. You don't know what's wrong. I mean, I can't. Anyways, it's dehumanizing to another level because these people took the Hippocratic oath. You know, I mean, what the hell? Hey, Tracy, how are you? I'm so glad to see you. Yeah, for not treating him. Got all the documents, you know. I don't even know what to do. I just, like I said, I don't even complain when they mess up my order at Taco Bell or anywhere. You know, I'm just like, whatever. Okay, just pick this stuff off. You know, don't make a big deal. Unless it's unless it's Walmart the other night. Oh my God, y'all wanted to drop kick them the other night. I was like, first off, I'm having to ring up my own damn stuff. And then, you know, you're going to look at me crazy because my grits are leaking. I don't want them. They're your grits. Anyways, it was more than that. Anyways, no customer service whatsoever these days. But that's something my mama taught me. Good. I'm glad to hear that, Fancy Nancy. So, how are you guys doing? Did y'all happen to look at the community post I put about the guy who, I know, Angela, the guy, his name is Ryan Fisher. And I mean, he used to be one of Tim Ballard's like really good buds. I mean, I don't know the situation. I don't know the background of this guy. Just so happened whenever I was, you know, something ended and I was like, okay, I think the trials have been coming on. I've been having all 3 TVs on. And so I've been stuck, you know, cleaning and everything. And I haven't been able to get to the remote to change it. So I've just been here in trial, Lori trial, which some of the time I was like, well, you know, let me just refresh myself on this stuff. But anyway, so I went to go change it and I saw the title it looked like clickbait. And I was like, what? Something about Tim Ballard being a reincarnated Joseph Smith. And I was like, get out of here. And I mean, I almost didn't click on it because sometimes you get trapped in those things and they're boring. And then you wasted a whole 45 minutes that you can never get back. His name is Ryan Fisher. He is the creator of the Nephite Explorer channel or something. Anyways, I was like, when I watched it, I mean, I watched it 4 times already, y'all. I watched it 3 times. And then I was like, Jason, you got, just let me have your ear for a minute. And so he listened and he was like, you know, he got the same thing that, you know, I did too from that. It confirmed a lot of things about, so y'all, it's big, it's huge. And I mean, this guy just talked about how, you know, he went with Tim Ballard and met with President, the apostle of the church that died in November 12th of 2023, right? He was with Tim whenever he met with the President Ballard. This time it was at President Ballard's office. It was a whole different place. So that's like 3 different places for sure, you know, allegedly. And that there's this, oh my God, that I might have to turn my camera off so I can smash the shit out of it. I have it in a Telegram chat. I will try to find it again. What? Oh, documentation. Yeah. I'll go do your dishes if you do this. No. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, talked about, I mean, basically, you know, I'm not very good at like quoting them and we're going to go over it. I really think it's important because he met Tim a long time ago at the big old Heartland thing, Rod Meldrum, right? The speaking circuit, Firm Expo, Firm Foundation, you know, that thing where we heard there's a lot of wife swapping and, you know, there's Lori and Chad's running around, you know, having affairs and getting sealed in temples and stuff by other members and, you know, with other members in, you know, the temple with them. That's how we got the James and Elena story. That is real. Chad's recounting how him and Lori were sealed in the temple. Straight up. Spiritual wifery, aka polygamy. Okay? That is why we are here today. Just saying. I know I'm a little animated, but I mean, geez, I've been I've been digging and digging and digging and researching and reading and listening and learning all this stuff that I never wanted to learn. Never wanted to learn. I never one time was like, oh my God, I've got to learn about religion, period. Period. End of story. I mean, I was just never like, yeah, I got to have me some of that religion stuff. I was fine with how I was. But then, 3 members of my family were, they're victims of this. And then, come to find out there's Ruby and Jody. They have victims from this. Same people, same circuit. Round and round we go. How many kids, how many people will it take for somebody to, or the right people to take this seriously? I don't really know what else to do besides, I'll circle it and circle it and circle it until somebody acknowledges it. I don't care. This is dangerous, and it's not isolated. It's not just Chad and Lori. Never was, never has been. As we can see, not only was there Jody and Ruby, but there's also Tim Ballard. Okay. Like I said, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. If there ever was a cult leader in any of this, it is allegedly, in my opinion, Tim Ballard. Okay. There's your quote. He's going to be a prophet and be the president of the United States and run for U.S. Senate and da-da-da-da-da. And he's pretending to go on these Operation Underground Railroad ops where he's using a freaking one of his gurus, and that is Janet Russin. Don't be, yeah, I'm a just all their bippity boppity boo. I don't want it. Okay. Y'all done hexed my family. I'm good. Right. I mean, that's Tom Harrison is alleged to have, I'm sorry. I mean, he's not in jail. I don't know if he still does it or not. I have no idea if he ever did it before. There was rumor or speculation. I'd heard this from Lauren, Hidden True Crime. She said it on Mormon Stories podcast when her, Megan Connor, and Mindy Caldwell went on and they exposed Tom Harrison. Visions of Glory. Can't spell Lori without glory. I mean, can't spell glory without Lori, right? Anyways. And so yeah, and that I can't quote her verbatim because I don't have that kind of memory, but there is speculation that Tom Harrison uses this. He was, I don't know if he still is, a licensed counselor, sex therapist. He even advocated for the church back in the Satanic Panic. Remember the Satanic Panic that's still going on? He was the point person for the leadership of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he was actually trying to normalize satanic ritual abuse. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't take the advice, or if they did and they were just like, okay, whatever. I don't know. It's not on me. I'm just saying this is what I've learned from researching the cases that I do, which is mainly the Hamblin case, where, I mean, all of them, he's in every one of the cases. And, Lauren had mentioned that someone, what do you call that? A source, a couple of sources had reached out to her and allegedly let her know that Tom Harrison was raiding light and dark missionaries, and even was being used in some of his counseling, practice or whatever, counseling people, raiding them. I mean, just really think about that. It's dehumanizing. And so this Ryan Fisher guy, who was friends with Tim Ballard, who kind of got used in just like everybody else, in my opinion, that ends up, I'm not going to say ends up, because Tim Ballard has a lot of people that he hangs around who I believe are just as guilty of the same things that Tim allegedly, in my opinion. It could be with a pendulum. I don't know. Yeah, it just is super righteous for Tom Harrison to be able to, play persecution complex just like normal, like clockwork. It's expected, I mean, that's what we get. Rod Meldrum does it. Mike and Nancy James, they're just like, what? And they're looking the other direction. And it's just like, what? These people escape culpability, responsibility. They don't even, come forward whenever there are 2 missing children and it's national news headlines plastered. Okay. For almost 10 months. Almost 10 months. So you had your chance, you don't get to come out now. That's, I mean, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You don't get to play both sides. You don't get to speak out of both sides of your mouth. You don't get to preach. It's just like Melanie Gibb. It's just like, yeah, that one. No, wait, I think you're talking about Hugh Vale. Hugh Vale. I just watched his again after I watched the other one for 4 times in a row because I was like, wait, let me get some corroborating, statements here. Because we've heard Jimmy Rex, we've heard Paul Hutchinson, Dave Lopez, is reported about by Lynn Packer, American Crime Journal, or in his on Lynn Packer's YouTube channel. You can go to that, subscribe to him. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he knows all the characters, all the people, all the doomsdayers here. I mean, I've never heard him mention Chatter Lori or, any of this preparing of people. He has mentioned Rod Meldrum, when Lynn Packer was on Mormon Stories podcast back in 2020, which is when he first blew up on my radar. I was like, oh, I love this guy, but I really was just new into Mormon Stories podcast. I don't know. I didn't know it was ex-Mormon. I didn't know all that stuff then. So yeah, I get that. Dave Lopez. Yeah. I think maybe Tim might be too, because I don't know if y'all have heard this. Let me go get it real quick. I'm going to go get it. I'll be right back. No, just kidding. I'll be right here. Okay. So let me make sure. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to read the thing down here at the bottom. And I mean, again, I called this, there were only 60 views whenever I first saw it. He's got 7,610 subscribers. Nephite Explorer. I remember hearing this channel name before, I never clicked on it, but it's just so weird. I mean, I see, is Tim Ballard actually Joseph Smith reincarnated? And I was like, oh yeah. And I mean, I almost passed it up, and I went back and I was like, wait, hold up. And I clicked on it. I mean, just to see. And I'm glad I did, because anyways, he says, I recorded this September 23rd, 2023, immediately after the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints issued a public statement disowning Tim Ballard and denying any business ties. I recorded my thoughts on this and told my own story from the inside, being part of high-level meetings within the church, as well as a close confidant and friend of Tim. I felt uncomfortable with publishing this video at the time of the recording out of fear of retaliation. I don't blame him. Possibly disciplinary action and other unknown repercussions. It's remained unlisted for the last 6 months. Recent events and other soul-searching moments have persuaded me to publish it now in hopes that it may lead some people to consider some of these ideas and start a conversation. I don't want to start a war of ideas. This is just my perspective as of April 7th, 2024. If you don't agree, that's fine. All I ask is that you keep your comments civil and productive. Thanks, Ryan Fisher. And yeah, there were like 2 comments when I first came by here. And then, of course, you're going to have your diehard apologists and defenders. Basically, this is all I saw in the beginning whenever the kids' stories went public, everybody defending the church, but also advocating for the kids. And that was very confusing to me because I'm like, whoa, wait, what? I mean, I was just trying to get a grip on just on the kids being missing and my uncle being murdered, much less all the rigmarole that I did not know was on its way to slap me in the face, and put me in check a great deal. And, yes, Mormons, or I'm sorry, Latter-day Saints, you do teach the 144,000. You do teach about the Church of the Firstborn. In case you didn't know, it's sorry to be the one to break it to you, but I mean, it's part of my story, and my story is telling their stories, trying to get justice for them. And I mean, it just is what it is. It's a very tough spot to be put into by people like this right here, little Miss Marinate here, Marinate, Melanie Gibb, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell. If you are mad, get mad at them, write them letters. I'm sure they would love to, share their thoughts with you. If not, you can share your thoughts with them. That's where I point that, because that's where it came from. So, but anyways, I'm not going to read all these right now, but I mean, to me, my first thoughts are, okay, he's not doing this for clickbait. He's not doing, if so, he would have done this when the shit was hitting the fan. Okay. In my opinion, I'm just saying, these are just some observations. And I think once y'all see it, you'll see that I really, and y'all know, I sit there and I'm radaring. Okay. And I see, and I'll pick them apart. I critique. Right. And, I really think that this guy is speaking from his heart. I think that, he realized some things once he got some distance, and I respect his journey, Anyway, so
So, as of late, there's been a lot of speculation and controversy surrounding the message of the American Covenant, and especially the messenger of the
hope y'all can
American
hear it.
Covenant, Tim Ballard. And I haven't spoken publicly about anything in a number of years, but since I had a TV show that put Tim and his research and his books on mainstream media on TV for 4 years, I feel like I need to talk about it and share with you, my audience, people that don't know me as well, some thoughts and some feelings that I have. I've been doing a lot of soul searching the last few years, and done a lot of critical thinking and review of the Nephite Explorer show and project, and have come to some conclusions that I think that have been beneficial for me in my life, and hopefully they might be beneficial for you if I share them with you here. So, a little bit of background. My involvement with Tim stems from, we met in 2010 at one of Rod Meldrum's early conferences in Orem. And I was creating the Nephite Explorer project at the time in concept, where I was interviewing and following around researchers that had very interesting new insights to Book of Mormon geography, biblical history, American history. And Tim gave one of his first presentations about the book that he was about to publish,
Sorry.
called The American Covenant. And that book was purely a historical look from his scriptural perspective on the history of America.
I mean, I just want to say right there, they met at the Firm Foundation that was going on back in 2010. Rod Meldrum, same people, same stuff. People continuously getting used, exploited, in my opinion. Sorry, not sorry. Just, I mean, from kind of, I don't know, from my viewpoint, and knowing what all went down, and knowing that these people had, I mean, literally had a Firm Foundation conference the weekend and the location when JJ was murdered. Okay. You hear nothing from them except for persecution complex, which I think is really disgusting because they're grown, they're grandparents. Rod Meldrum and his wife lost a son. So I even kind of held off, I was like, yeah, no. But then I have to I've come to realize that I may want them to have the empathy that I feel. And, we feel empathy for all people because no matter what, I don't hate any of these people, but they're not doing it right, in my opinion. They're not doing right by my family, the murdered victims here. They have never mentioned them. They high step right around them. No, Rod Meldrum, not too long ago, I have the screen recording if y'all want to see it. Well, he was on Mormon book reviews and he distanced himself from Chad and Lori. But then you kind of catch them in lies because I have all the freaking flyers with Chad and Rod. And he's like, no, I only spoke with him like twice. And I told Mike and Nancy James that I would not speak anymore if Chad was going to be there. And I was like, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I mean, that's what you do. It's called a lie. They got the diabetes. And I mean, that's with these people, I mean, with the hyper religiosity types, and they're all visionary and they're all just these righteous, alleged so-called righteous people. That's how they come off, and you're just like, what? It's crazy. So I don't know. I just don't think that they get to continue to get away with this. Meanwhile, here's part of my nephew right here in this little necklace. Okay. This is JJ. Okay. All right. Rod. I know I don't like crosses, but anyways, just saying. Oh, I'm glad you're here, Trace. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Deneen. How are you? Thank you. Hey, Jason. Jason, you get to hear it again, right? But anyways, I'm just saying these things have been going on for a long time. I spoke with an ex-Mormon lady about a week and a half ago. And we talked for a long time backstage. She's going to come on, but I mean, stuff has been really crazy, with Jason being in the hospital, trial, parents, going to be attending, and just our vehicle, blew the head gasket, just all the things, right? All what can go wrong will go wrong, right? But, nothing's going to stop me from seeking justice through understanding for them, and not just for them. It's to raise awareness because this is not isolated. This is not isolated. This is not isolated. I don't care. And I don't care what anybody believes. I really don't. I mean, I respect what everybody believes, but I don't. That's not my goal here. My goal is not to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just break your shelf right now, because trust me, mine has been broken, and it is. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not even Mormon. I mean, just your whole worldview is just like, whoa, 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 what? And I mean, this was while I'm grieving and just processing all the trauma that's been thrown my way and my family's way, and I'm just saying, this is my experience, and I mean, I like sharing it with you, and I'm glad that you have been here to do this with me, because it is difficult every step of the damn way. But anyways, don't want any more Tylees, don't want any more JJs, don't want any more R's or E's or any other victims, named and unnamed, because God, there is a wake of them. They're all, yeah. Anyways.
I saw his presentation. I thought it was really cool. It was a take on things that I hadn't heard before. I mean, not in the way that he presented it. And so from there, we became friends and started researching this together. We went on multiple trips back east, looking for evidences of the American Covenant in American history. And from that, he compiled the research to then draft the book, The Lincoln Hypothesis. The journalist that he talks about in that book when he was at Federal Hall was me. I was involved in that process from the beginning and developed a friendship and with Tim, and we are both working towards the same thing. He was advancing these ideas in books, and I started my TV show. So that went on for a number of years until 2016 when we parted um, for personal personal reasons that I'm not going to get into here. Um, but I was involved with Tim from before he was known, all the way through becoming Deseret Books #1 author, and all the way through the start of OUR, and so really early on. And I'm not here to comment on whether Tim is a good guy or a bad guy. There's a lot of people talking about that now. But I am here to comment on the church's response to Tim and their disownership of him, and the statement that came out just last week that um, that states that Elder Ballard never had any business ties with Tim or OUR or anything that was done there. Now, a little bit of background. I don't know if Tim introduced, or excuse me, if Elder Ballard introduced Tim to Glenn Beck or vice versa, but I was around when all that went down. And I know it started with Elder Ballard had an interest in finding this kid that got kidnapped from a church building in Haiti. Kid named Gardy Marty, and while his dad was bishop, because his dad was bishop, um, some nefarious members of the community thought that he must be wealthy. So if they take this kid, then they can collect a nice, handsome ransom. It turned out he didn't have money to pay the ransom, and the kid disappeared. Elder Ballard brought Tim into this because he wanted to help find this kid, help this family find their kid that was taken from church. And so that's where that relationship started. Tim was still at the CIA at that point, um, Department of Homeland Security, uh, as an operative, and he was trying to work his way out of that into his own organization where he could do some more good, um, as he supposed at the time. Now, that relationship with Elder Ballard um, was more than just this one project. So I was involved in meetings. I had one meeting with Tim, Elder Ballard, and one other guy that lasted about an hour and a half in Elder Ballard's office. So I can give you some insight into what the mission was, um, and it's the church's statement does not tell the whole story. When Tim got on uh, social media and said that Elder Ballard is a grandfather to him and talked about his close relationship, I can verify that that was true. Elder Ballard took Tim under his wing. He became what I would call a very close mentor and an executive producer to the career of Tim Ballard. He did a number of things to help jumpstart the celebrityship of Tim Ballard. The biggest one was getting his books in Deseret Book and then taking Deseret's books, celebrity making machine, and gearing that up so that Tim could become a household name. Now, there was two motivations for doing this. One was Elder Ballard expressed an interest in the message of the American Covenant of returning America to its foundations, its Christian roots, that there is a special place in God's heart for America and Americans, and we need to be held to a higher standard, or there's going to be consequences. That message is central to the Book of Mormon. But there is a second effort, and this is probably the primary reason Elder Ballard took such an interest in Tim. The word I want to use is they sought to infiltrate the evangelical community with Tim's message. Some would say
heard
they
that.
were on a mission.
Or infiltrate. Okay. Okay. One more time. I was too busy yapping.
The word I want to
thinking.
use is they sought to infiltrate the evangelical community with
I mean, I'm just saying that Tim Ballard is, I saw the other day that he's trying to be a Catholic now. Okay. But so just think about that. Think that he got excommunicated from the church. Sometimes excommunications, disfellowshipments, and things like that, especially public excommunication, like what happened to Tim Ballard back in, oh, I'm sorry. Oops. I always hit these dang buttons. It's a nice keyboard. I get happy. Anyways, so all that stuff that happened with Tim back in, I want to say it was September 15th or 17th of 2023, whenever the church, and it's alleged that it was Gordon Bowen, y'all. He's in, all named in the Hamlin case. So there's that. For what it's worth, we don't know. I'm just saying it was on official, church email. Anyways, but they wrote the quote unquote hit piece, or Tim's, supporters call it a hit piece. Whatever it was, I mean, it exploded with those civil lawsuits coming out from the women who were, they were operators. They'd go on the ops with Tim Ballard, and, they were led to believe that they had to take part in what's called the couples ruse, which is weird. And it's no, it's called BS. But anyways, so, I mean, just think about all these things as we're processing what this man is saying. I'm just saying, hear him out, please.
Tim's message. Some would say they were on a mission to reach out to evangelical community and link arms with evangelical churches behind the shared interest, the shared mission of advancing Christian values.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, I've got pictures in my photo gallery of Thomas Monson shaking hands. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what George Bush. But then there's, oh God, President Oaks, President Ballard, President Nelson, and who's the other guy? Eyring, and they're right there next to the damn Pope. Okay. So, I mean, I think they just bought like the Abbey, some kind of, forget the name of it, but the Abbey. And I was like, oh Lord. Anyways, so that's why I think that and this is just my opinion, take it for what you will. I'm not trying to break anybody's belief shelf, or, and if it really, I can't do it. You know what I mean? If you're there, then, I mean, we have to be accountable for where we're at and not blame other people for it. You know what I mean? But still, it's not something that I take joy in by it, because it sounds so weird even coming out. It's so hard to say, because it's not my nature to just be like, meh, but I mean, it is part of this. And it just seems to me that a lot of these mainstream religions are, they are buds behind the scenes, they're kicked back, they're playing golf and stuff. Okay. And we're over here thinking that, there's this bunch that's like, oh, we're more righteous. And there's this bunch that's, we're more righteous. We believe the right thing. We believe the right thing. We believe the right thing. And I'm just like, geez, how much money did you give? I mean, it's just like, and we see all the abuse for sure in Mormonism, because this is where Lori and Chad brought me. They didn't bring me to the Catholic Church. If they did, then I'd be railing all up in there. Okay. It is what it is. This is where we're at. So I think that it's one of the major ways that, with media and everything, and how, they can control us as long as they are, as long as they keep us in fear and like just out of our senses, we're just like, okay, mercy, mercy, I give, and so whenever we're scared, whenever we are being, fear mongered and everything like that, and we don't even realize it, because we're just like, oh my God, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Okay. For whenever the day that the kids were found, I mean, I sat straight up and I was like, oh my God, we're going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, I don't know why I said that, but it's one of the weird things I said. And I mean, it's just like, wow, humanity, I mean, pretty depraved, y'all. I mean, I saw a story yesterday. I was like, oh my God. It was a Chicago man, and he's a veterinarian, and he was like a judge for, I want to, don't come at me because I don't know all the things, but AKC, all the dog shows and stuff like that. And this guy, and what got me was the headline. And that's usually what gets, us, is the headline. And it said that the guy, had been, being investigated and everything, because it's alleged that he was going to SA his unborn baby. And I was like, what? How the hell are you going to do that? And I'm like, unless they wait till the baby's born. And what? Oh my God. I mean, it was just like, what? To the extremes, right? And anyway, so that's all. That's a Chicago man, and it's crazy. It's a surrogate mother, and I'm just like, this is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So when you see all these stories all the time, and we do with true crime, following these trials, and learning all the hard, difficult details that we do learn, it's not because we're like, some people are like, oh, it's a genre, and it's not. It's because you have empathy and compassion, and you really do seek justice for these victims, because somewhere along the way you connect, somewhere along the way. And anyway, so we're all here for different reasons, but kind of not, anyways. And so I think that they use all that to say that I think that one of the major ways they do this is by religion. And I think they're all just like hanging out at the bar every night. You know what I mean? And they're like, ha ha ha, how much money did you collect this week? I mean, it's so sad. It really is, because again, your whole worldview, my whole worldview has been like, and so I'm not trying to do that to you guys because it's horrible, but really, it's like when you see the best in humanity, I think that's the best thing ever. I really do. And that's what this community is all about. Love it.
Now, the way that it was presented to me, as I've had years to think about it, it was really a PR move for the church. They have been hitting hard this message that they want to be considered Christians and want to be part of mainstream Christianity.
Y'all, whenever I was it was Marisol Nichols, Scientologist, right? Again, and they're all, hanging out, buds. Okay. And then there's Tim Ballard doing an interview right after all the SHTF, right? In September of 2023. And he's got a cross on it. I'm like, you don't wear crosses. And I mean, for sure, when you go and look on Google Maps, boop, 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 boop. It's like they're, again, and I remember learning that President Russell Ballard, the apostle that died, not related to Tim, allegedly, wink, wink. He was I mean, that's what he did. That was his like job, was to create new missionaries, create new congregants, members of the church. So it all makes sense. And then the fact that Gordon Bowen's in there, and Gordon Bowen is allegedly Russell Ballard's other golden boy, basically, which is weird. I'm trying to figure out the dynamics of that, but
And Tim came along at a time where they saw an opportunity in him. He had a message that was rooted in primarily the Book of Mormon and the aspirations of kingdom building by Joseph Smith.
MBS.
But I'll get into
He got
that
a mattress. That's
later.
my kind of peeps right
But
there.
it was based in providential look at American history, that God had a hand and role in saving us for a specific purpose. Now, Tim would advocate that that purpose is for building temples and advancing the Mormon faith. But the foundations of that message, before he goes that far into Mormon kingdom building and extremism, the foundation was that our founding fathers were building a country for God's gospel to flourish. Something that evangelical Christians could totally get behind and would resonate with. So in order to do this, what was in the discussions, and I feel this makes me feel really uncomfortable that I was okay with this at the time, because I'm now part of the evangelical community that has been great to me and my family.
Glad to hear that.
And I know these people well, and I've attended.
I'm glad to hear that, because usually a lot of Mormons who learn the truth, they turn away from God altogether. And I'm just saying, it's tragic, and because Mormonism ties God to, Joseph Smith and whatever. I don't want to sit there and do all the semantics and all the things, but it's just sad to me. And I mean, to each their own. I respect everybody's journey, and I really do. It's just one of those things that you notice quite a bit of. And anyways,
their churches, and there's a level of deception that came from the leadership of the Mormon Church that makes me really uncomfortable and a little bit angry.
Oh, me
The
too.
deception was this, that they were formulating plans to make Tim a celebrity in the evangelical community by erasing his Mormon ties, building him up into a household name,
What?
getting people behind him, making him a celebrity status, and then he would come out as Mormon and steer people towards the church, steer people towards Mormonism and the Book of Mormon.
So that's pretty elaborate, right? I'm just saying. I mean, they're allegedly pumping, for what it's worth, his perspective, Ryan's perspective here, it really checks things out for me. I'm just like, oh yeah, I see that. I see that. That resonates for me. It validates a lot of weird things, and I'm, you just can't peg it, and then you can, and you're like hoping everybody else will peg it too. But then you're not, you're like, well, maybe I'm just being cynical, and maybe I'm just being super hard on them. And, but then you're like, then this, and it all just makes sense to me. For me, it does. And I feel like it does for a lot of you guys too. Like, it's no surprise. It's not a surprise to me. It sounds right on point. It checks out, it's just like, oh yeah, let's tick all those boxes. And I mean, that's basically what was happening. We all know, and we've witnessed it with our own two eyes, our own two ears, our own senses. Okay. We're not dumb. And we know when we're being gaslit. And that is, I mean, I watched Mormon discussions with Bill Reel and Radio Free Mormon a long time ago, where they shared, I think it's on YouTube, but they shared a speech that was done back in, I want to say, the 80s, okay? Back in the day, before they had all the tech like they do now. And so they put these two speeches of the same guy, same speech, side by side. And there's one, they play, then they let the other one play for a little while. And you can see where they took things out and added things in to the speech to fit their narrative. I mean, that pisses me off, and I'm not even Mormon. That pisses me off because I love all people. And there's a lot of good Mormons. And I hate that this happens to them. I hate it. It bothers me. It bothers me. It's like you're holding a life raft and you're like, come on to this side. But then, like when their family leaves the church, they say that the church, I'm sorry, people who are still members, because it divides families. Let's get real. It divides families. And so those who leave the church, people who stay in the church say, why can't you just leave the church alone? And it's because they're like, fire, come on. I just need you to see. And I mean, I get it. And it's so devastating to watch. I mean, I feel the same feelings. Like, come on. You just, yeah. I don't like seeing people exploited and used and abused and then covered up. And then, it's like having a friend or whatever in a narcissistic or abusive relationship. And you're just like, come on, girl, come on, guy, come on. And, they go back for more. And so they just have to do it in their time, just like Lori, right? The intervention thing did not go well. Okay. So can't force it on anybody, but you can present truth, facts. They eventually come to light. Thank God some people have a conscience, in my opinion. This guy right here, I think, because everybody else, it's been pretty quiet on the home front, and a lot of people are okay with that. Tylee and JJ murdered, Charles murdered, Tammy murdered, congregants of their own church, their own children, their own lambs, so to speak. And I mean, even, yeah, I won't get into all that, but it's touchy.
And this was done deliberately to be deceptive to evangelicals. I
Everybody.
can't put it any other way. I wish it was different.
Mm-hmm.
The way they're going to do this was, and I remember this specifically because I never heard this term before when I was in this meeting. They wanted to
Right.
scrub the internet of Tim's Mormon connections.
Oh,
Scrub the internet. Basically,
I
create.
mean, have we witnessed this ourselves, right? Y'all remember, they took everything down off of Deseret News. It's on the Wayback Machine. There was one time whenever Radio Free Mormon was going to read an article, I want to say from ABC4, it might have been John DeLynn. I don't know. That was a crazy time, right? We had everything kind of pow with Jody, Ruby, and then, Tom Harris, Visions of Glory, all these things. Tim Ballard everything was just like, what? And I mean, anyway, so there was an ABC4 Utah news article that had come out about Russell Brunson, who was also present at one of the meetings with Tim Ballard. He was at the whiteboard meeting, allegedly, hold on, don't hold me to that because I don't remember now. I don't know if he was at the whiteboard meeting or if he was just at another meeting and with Tim Ballard and Russell Ballard. And Russell Ballard, Russell Brunson ended up donating and financially backing Tim Ballard, basically because, I mean, if the Pope and or an apostle, a leader in your church, or, I mean, somebody high that you have high regards for, and that has a lot of stroke in the community, and I mean, especially if they hold the key to the kingdom, so to speak, also, right? I mean, that's got to be pretty freaking intimidating. Yes, sir. You know what you need me to do. I mean, that is wrong in every single way. I don't care how you dice it down. That's wrong, and then come to find out all this alleged abuse has taken place. I'm not going to say that Operation Underground Railroad and Tim Ballard do not have, I don't know, bazillion victims in its wake, allegedly, in my opinion. I'm just saying I've never seen any, and I don't want to see any sex trafficking victim, especially children. I don't, that's not something you do. But there's nothing there's just a lot of this and a lot of this. Okay. And a lot of gaslighting, a lot of victim blaming, a lot of the persecution complex, and people continue to fund his lifestyle and people just like that all over. And it's sick. It's so you're just like, wow, you know? And there's no boundaries, none. Okay. If it can be exploited, it's a wrap. And then when they're done with you, just like Lori, just like Chad, ball it up, trash, dehumanize. I'm just here. I'm just here for clout. I'm here for my image. I'm here for, just to pump myself up. No, Tim, you're not a hero. Okay. And it makes me think that there are so many victims in the wake of that whole movement. It's bothersome. My ear is ringing so bad. It just freaked me out. Sorry. Still ringing.
A character out of him that was genuine and authentic, but not Mormon. And I was afraid of this happening because I had already put him on my TV show as
Sorry.
a Mormon.
That just reminded me, Ravina, John Huntsman and Mike Lee are like this. Okay. Tim Ballard allegedly, according to the court documents, met with Tim Ballard in the Salt Lake City airport to discuss him becoming a U.S. Senator. Mike Lee was also on the Firm Foundation Firm Expo speaking circuit. Okay. Conferences. I have a picture of him talking to a lady, with like kind of short hair, kind of gray, older lady. I mean, okay, these people run in the same circles. I'm not saying Chad's like their status. Chad's broke. Okay, he broke. But I'm just saying victims, it doesn't matter. Okay. And so whatever they're practicing, Tylee, I believe, in my opinion, I feel it in my heart, my soul. Tylee and JJ were, just one or two more victims in that movement, in that movement's wake. I know them some big claims, right? It's just my hunch. It's just my gut feeling, because what I see it does not reflect God, Jesus. Hell, it don't even reflect a rock. It's like, it's depraved. There's victims in the wake. There's just all this kind of there's a lot of manipulation, a lot of deceit, a lot of questionable behaviors. And, by ye fruits, it was one of Tammy Daybell's favorite sayings. I learned that along the way. And I'm like, by ye fruits, ye shall know. And you see the fruits. And then, they're in the same crowd. Tom Harrison is, one of the other, Tim Ballard's other guru. Okay. They're all portaling. They're all meeting at Thanksgiving point and bringing more, people who aren't in their, in their circle, like Sherston Stockwell. They're bringing her to Thanksgiving point and they're talking about how they have special insight to the second coming. Sounds familiar, right? Way too familiar. Ushering in the second coming. I'm like, what? When you hear that, I mean, that will never leave me, ever. My aunt was Lori Vallow. She was a god. She was a translated being who did not have to use the bathroom. She didn't have to eat. She was a goddess, and she was a leader to usher in the second coming of Jesus Christ and, lead 144,000 into that. Right? Okay. So I'm telling you, that will never leave me, ever. And so those are trigger words. Those are buzzwords. Those are like, I'm listening. What you got? And don't fear an apocalypse, because that ain't it. It's one that they're trying to usher in themselves, in my opinion. And in my opinion, and I'm just going to say this because it's easier. I can either call them elitist, globalist. I can call them whatever makes you feel comfortable. I'm not trying to make anybody feel uncomfortable, but I mean, this is uncomfortable. And I can't imagine what it felt like for Tylee and JJ and Tammy and Uncle Charles and Joe. I mean, I really can't. I've tried. And those last moments, I mean, I really can imagine the betrayal, and your mom's and all her weird friends, and everything changed because of these people, but yet they're church going people, and they're talking about Jesus, 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 but then they sure are doing some really effed up things behind the scenes, aren't they? It reminds me of whenever Melanie Gibb and David Warwick said that JJ said he loved Satan. I was like, well, no shit, huh? Tell me that ain't so. Tell me about them secret combinations, Melanie Gibb. Tell me about them Gaddy hand robbers, boo. We know they project. That's all I'm saying. Projection is real. And I mean, look at Jody. They look at Ruby. They're all like, oh, no, 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 and they just believe the stuff that's spewing out of their mouth. And just because they can talk it does not mean that they actually do it. There's a big difference. And so you can walk the walk, but you can't talk the talk and walk the walk at the same time. So when their actions don't match up with their words, flags, red flags. And it's scary. Upside down. So anyways, yeah, I don't know.
Talking about the Book of Mormon and other things. And I was afraid that if they executed this plan, then they were going to ask me to take down all of my content and all of the TV shows that I had produced up to that stage, and basically fade off into the background, because my
Trash.
shows were very clearly Mormon. It's called Nephite Explorer.
Mhm.
Nephite Explorer Project. There's no
I get
getting
it.
around it.
He works,
So
right?
there's a
It's
lot
not
of
just handed
discussion
to
about
him.
scrubbing the internet,
Scrub.
Tim's Mormon connections, so that as his name got out there, people wouldn't be able to see that he's Mormon. And then also creating a second version of the American Covenant book that was evangelical. And this was an attempt to infiltrate the evangelical space, evangelical churches, community, pop culture, and then use that position to, at some future date, once he's in that position, to bring the Mormon church into the evangelical crowd. This is like so much more than simply getting Google to change
Correct.
icons of the church on Google Maps from churches to crosses. This was that same effort.
It's so elaborate though. But I mean, people would have you believe that this is just so, oh, that's just a damn conspiracy theorist, right? You just, girl, you whack. Well, color me whack. Okay. I mean, all I'm doing is following what these people say, what comes out in the headlines, right? Because eventually it does. And then we're like, I mean, Chad and Lori were just a little part of that. And that's scary to me. That's like, whoa. When I mean, and I'm not saying it's all due to that, but I mean, it did not help. You're around people, they surrounded themselves and were around people who were a-okay with cheating spouses and then giving them alibis, Karen Walker, Zalema, so that, Chad could leave while Zalema was in Rexburg. I mean, just going to temples, even where Tammy went to the temple in Rexburg. Audrey Baratero, I want to say Melanie Pulowski. I don't remember right now, but I mean, it was a whole lot of them. Enough to know. And that's even more, that pisses me off even more because Rexburg, a lot of people are hurt by Chad and Lori's actions also. But there are a lot of people who are okay with being quiet and defending, I mean, over their own. I mean, like Charles, Tylee, Tammy, JJ, they were members of the church. Tylee, for her, I want to say it was her Instagram page, and she had the church. She didn't have like whatever the teenagers were into, whatever the big thing was for, the popular thing at the time. She had a temple. She believed in her church. She believed in her mother. And it's like everything failed her. Everything failed them. Charles reached out to his bishop. His bishop is actually on body cam. Oh, I mean, she just used the words destroy, same old over here. Okay, call Melanie. Hey, what's happening at Zelena's house? There's some ambulances and stuff there. I'll call you right back. What? No. Okay. And so we know the result. We know there's I'm just going to say there's 4, I think 5 victims in Lori's wake. Okay. That's including Joe. I don't know about Stacy. I don't know. I don't know about, I can't prove Joe's either. Okay. But I really do feel like Lori had a hand in that. And that's scary. Joe also converted to the church. Okay. And here he is. I have interview, I went and grabbed it from Justin Lum's interview with, oh God, I'm not going to remember his name. Oh, he was Joe Ryan's attorney. I don't know. But, he's from Texas and he talked about how Lori even had, like in the custody battle with Tylee, Joe and Lori and Tylee and Lori actually had a higher up. I don't know if it was a stake. I don't know who it was. It could have been her dad. Okay. For all I know, I'm just saying Yamaguchi. That's his name. And, he talked about how he even had to, or he felt like he had to learn about Mormonism because he was like, what, he's dealing with this extremist who's around like-minded people, the echo chamber. Right. And so, they just think that, they're taught this, that the saints, they're the saints, right? They think that, or they're taught that everybody outside of the Mormon church is a Gentile and that it's up to the Mormon to deliver, to proselytize and share the Book of Mormon so that they can get them into the one true church. Okay. Anything that says, hey, I'm true, I'm running, because anything that has to tell me what I need to think, or, like, because you say it does not mean that that is so, is all I'm saying. Okay. Anyways, but it just is alarming that, Lori for sure, and Chad too, they were able to really, really, become even cocky, I think, in their alleged murder spree for Chad. Lori convicted halfway. And it just bolstered them and just made them like, the egos are disgusting. If we ever want to hurt them or, not hurt them, but hurt their ego, hurt their feelings, or get to them, I think it's through the ego. Chad, we hate your books, bruh. We do. Sorry. Not sorry. We hate your damn books. They're stupid. Anyways, so you just have to like do that because they're so used to just, getting their little egos pet, and it's just, it's scary. It's gross.
It's optics, it's PR, it's marketing. And
It's a
what
game.
bothered me and bothers me now is it was a plan that was to deceive. And I don't think the gospel of Jesus Christ has any place in it for
Nope.
deception.
Nope.
So it was determined
Not you, him.
that
Like,
it
Jesus don't.
that was
Yeah.
already out of the bag, and it would have been
Sorry.
impossible to scrub the internet and scrub pop culture
That's
of
messed up.
Tim's Mormon connections. And he had tried to write a book, and I think he may have even got a draft done. And I think I got a copy of the American Covenant without any of the Mormon references.
Okay.
The problem is it didn't.
Y'all remember that though? Remember how that's allegedly how M. Russell Ballard had met Tim Ballard through Glenn Beck and blah 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 blah. When I've learned, but I don't know for sure because they're very good at scrubbing the damn internet, like he just said. And I mean, I've seen them scrub other things. That news story from ABC4 Utah. Boop. Oh, sorry. We just I forget what their excuse was, but I mean, and that was somebody who had already come out and corroborated on his own that Tim Ballard had met with M. Russell Ballard. He was there. Lynn Packer was like, well, who needs enemies when you have somebody like Russell Brunson, And I mean, I get it, but holy shit. So that's somebody who already spoke his truth, and made his claims and linked them up. We're not dumb. We see it. So it's like, you're like, no, nothing to see here. Right. And they're like, give me some money, and then here, let me take your soul while I'm at it. It's exploitation at its finest. And that's something that has always been alarming to me when I heard the word cult. And I was like Charles Manson, ha ha ha. He didn't kill nobody. Ha ha ha. Joke's on me. Right. Okay. I was ignorant. I shouldn't have spoke out. I didn't know. That was I was ignorant. And I mean, I still don't believe that anybody can make you do anything, but that's just me. It's like you gotta want that in your heart, or I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? So many other things are popping into my mind now. And I'm just like, well, again, I don't want to be ignorant. I don't want to be blanketed, but I mean, Lori and Chad, they obviously were not happy. And I don't think it's not necessarily with any of their spouses. Like Lori, I mean, she married 18 people before Chad? Joking. But she never was going to find the right spouse because she can't stand who she is on the inside. You know what I mean? She's trying to fill a void, I guess. I'm just that's my take on it. I don't know. I know she probably has some personality disorders and stuff. And I'm pretty sure, but I'm just saying, I don't know how that operates, but it's like she's trying to fill something, and then you mix that ideology or whatever. I'm not a professional, but I mean, that's kind of what, I mean, I live and I breathe, but and they're steadily trying to fill it, what they're missing, what they didn't get as a child or whatever. I'm going to kill 120 bees. Why? Because I'm me and I heard a voice, and you're just like, what? I mean, did you not get loved when you were a child? I mean, and that's freaky, because, and I'm going to say it, I know it's a cliche, but hurt people. And, obviously, Lori didn't pick on anybody her own size. Everybody was unsuspecting, showing up to pick up your son, to bring him to school, and then blah 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 is going, and who knows what happened, and then I mean, just it goes on and on and on with every one of the victims, and I mean, that's just right here in this one case. So it's nuts.
It was weak.
I gotta stop talking.
It was interesting ideas, and it relied on a lot of the providential miracles and testimonies of founding fathers and people from the Revolutionary War. But the message of the American Covenant, that this is a chosen land, this is a special land God set aside for a chosen people, and the people of that land need to serve God or be swept off, that message is really uniquely found in the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon, and And
He
so,
is paid to spend.
along with that, that's
Yeah.
why the American Covenant fit hand in
Ron.
hand with the Heartland movement of the Book of Mormon.
Heartland. Y'all heard that? I'm sorry, I was
Part
talking.
of, you can see
Probably
all my
not.
shows.
Back it up. This is
Book of
Rod Meldrum.
Mormon. And so, along with that, that's why the American Covenant fit hand in hand with the Heartland movement of the Book of Mormon, which I was part of. You can see all my shows that advocated for the heartland of the United States being the geographical setting for the Book of Mormon where it took place.
Lori and Melanie Pulowski went and visited there the weekend that Tammy was shot at by Alex. Okay. October 9th. Alibis, right? And then little innocent Audrey there, little whatever. I don't believe Audrey. That's just me. That's my prerogative. I don't believe her. Anybody, they especially know how to make themselves cry on a dime. Melanie did it in her interview with Nate. I mean, it's just on the dime, on a dime. And I mean, she's over there allegedly, or no, she testified to it, that she was showing Melanie Pulowski and Lori Vallow, some of the old historic Mormon sites. Part of me is like something sinister was done there. I don't know, because this is after the kids were murdered. Brandon had just got shot at. Tammy had just got shot at and was on her way to, to losing her life. She had 2 kids she didn't even know buried in her backyard. The audacity is outrageous. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like, wherever you're at right now, let's say, your significant other or whatever, let's just say, imagine what, I mean, it's just, wow.
But this idea of using patriotism, founding fathers, and
Pilgrims.
providential guidance and American exceptionalism, along with manifest destiny, to stir people up into joining your movement
Amen.
is nothing new. In fact, it is the oldest Mormon story that there is. And in very definitive ways, the story of Tim Ballard is the story of Joseph Smith.
I see what he's saying.
Joseph Smith started a religious movement based primarily on the myth of the mound builders. As frontier America was opening up, they, in the heartland of America, from Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, all that area.
And just know that Rod Meldrum has made his entire existence, his career is based off of this. Okay. I mean, he's been involved in some really sketchy research where I'm like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about, right? And I mean, whatever.
Area, they're finding massive complexes and mounds left over by a civilization called the Mound Builders, for obvious reasons. And these were very advanced geometric earthworks, very advanced. Civilization must have built this with engineering and geometry and astronomical alignments. So out of that was born this curiosity that people talked about as they discovered these mounds in this civilization, as they cleared their fields and cut down trees and cleared the forests. And it was a curiosity into who these people were. This curiosity was so prevalent that many books were written about the myth of the mound builders, that they were an advanced civilization. And because they were an advanced civilization, they looked at the, as they put it, degenerate savages that were living in teepees or
Oh my gosh.
longhouses.
Calm down, Ravina.
As incapable of such advanced civilized engineering projects. And so they surmised that they must have been a lost tribe of Israel that came over from across the ocean, built a civilization, and they're no longer here. So the brown-skinned Native Americans must have wiped them out. That story is found in View of the Hebrews. It's found in many other books that were written about Solomon Spaulding wrote some books about trying to romanticize this myth of the mound builder, and
Privacy.
it was prevalent. It was talked about. Another data point that entered into this conversation was this
I don't know.
scriptural connection to history. And a good example of this coming forth
Ah.
is a book called The Late War Between America and the United States and Great Britain, published in 1812, I believe. And they took the Revolutionary War history, and the authors of that wrote it in the scriptural style, the King James version of the
Okay.
Bible. If you read that, you'll think you're reading the Book of Mormon. Really, the parallels are absolutely
Ain't that something?
stunning in writing style. It came to pass is all over the place. So that
Interesting.
was published also before the Book of Mormon. So getting back to Joseph Smith and how this all ties together, Joseph Smith started a religious movement based on answering the question of the myth of the mound builders,
I put in the
which is
chat.
already in pop culture and the frontier culture. And he did this by providing an answer. And his answer was that a manuscript has been found, plates were found, and they answered
Allegedly.
this question that had been debated for decades at that point. And he capitalized on a number of different things. One, curiosity with myth with the mound builders. Who were these people? The story of a lost tribe. Where did they go? I mean, who doesn't love a mystery and being able to solve a mystery?
Right?
Those are the best books. That's why mystery books sell like crazy, especially
Mhm.
historical mysteries. He also capitalized on American exceptionalism. They had just came out of the Revolutionary
Still
War,
do.
and there's no way they should have won that against Britain. God must have been involved, and there's plenty of miracles to show that he was involved. The founding fathers and others recounted those miracles, and so they used that to bolster this idea that God took a special interest in the establishment of the United States, and that patriotism ran through. I mean, this was
They just don't even sound
Thomas
right.
Jefferson could have been Joseph Smith's grandfather. That's how close we were coming out of the Revolutionary War in the 1820s, 1830s.
I mean, and I can't fact check this dude because look, I've been learning Mormonism, not like all the history. Okay. I'm just like, But I mean, it's really important to me, in my opinion, it's important to listen to what he is saying because he's building, he's telling a story here. He's telling his story, his perspective, what he's learned from it, and how this all ties in. And so history is, and I mean, hopefully it's like I said, I can't verify it. I don't know. I can't really fact check everything he is saying right now. But I mean, I'm not here to just double down on him. You know what I mean? I'm just listening to his perspective, listening to what he's got to say, how the things that I can, connect with about Tim Ballard and the Heartland theory, the whole Heartland movement, Rod Meldrum, the circuit, Lori and Chad, my family, that's when you're like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I do trust people. I don't just say, okay, yes, I endorse this person, because I don't know. So, I mean, I think that's what the community is all about. We can share all that in the comments like y'all are doing right now. I mean, that's really interesting. And, we don't see it all the same way. And so I really think that's important to keep, like you said, he wants to start a conversation. And I love that.
The Book of Mormon was
There's
published.
nothing wrong with that.
So American patriotism and exceptionalism was 10 times stronger than it is today.
Wow.
Maybe 20 times stronger. As I look into history and stuff, that's what I see. So a book comes forth from Joseph Smith that claims to be a record of this ancient people. It also talks about the land that they were on, which Joseph Smith, according to my research, clearly identified as the heartland of the United States for the most part. And that this land was special, set aside for chosen people of God. And that if we didn't serve God on this land, then we'll be swept off. So that message resonated with
This
enough
ties into
people to
Tylee,
start a
JJ, and
movement and
Tammy
a
and them.
following.
And Carl.
And in a lot of ways
Big time.
parallel to the movement and following that Tim Ballard has found, because he's preaching the same message that Joseph Smith was,
Oh yeah.
about American exceptionalism and the chosen land, things like that. That was answered in the Book of Mormon. So it's no wonder that people responded to that message, and that there's enough people that have responded to gain a following. So this this message of the American Covenant, though, I've had a lot of time to think about it, and from a few different perspectives. And the problem with it, there's a few. So one of the problems is, at first, it sounds like a good message. Yeah, turn to God, or bad things will happen. That seems like a very simple religious message that is not too extreme to
Sorry.
take in or believe or explore. However, the devil's in the details. So
Amen.
if that is true, if the Book of Mormon message that this is a chosen land and you'll be blessed if you're righteous, but if you're unrighteous, then you'll
Listen.
be swept off. You'll be destroyed. The wrath of God will come down upon you and destroy you. And Tim used, evidences of what happened to Missourians and stuff during the Civil War as proof that
What a
this
prick.
American covenant.
Okay. So, I mean, hold on, because I'm gonna pull this up. Y'all know. I mean, this, I forget her name who did it, but I'm gonna play it.
Jesus Christ knows the truth of what happened.
So this is a mind-blowing development in the Chad and Lori Daybell case. So this is them sunbathing the day of their arrest. And this book right here, I'm going to tell you what's inside of that book and how it basically explains everything about this case. So Visions of Glory is a book that has been sold in LDS bookstores. It claims to have a stamp of approval by an apostle. It also claims to be a prophetic book about the last days leading to the second coming of Christ, which is what Lori and Chad believed was happening right now. At one point, the book explains that people will be so ripe with iniquity because they've been overcome by evil spirits, and that the most righteous thing that you can do for them in that state is to, quote, deliver them from mortality. I will play a clip for you now.
There was a law we followed. It was not a rule, but a law. When an individual or group threatened us, we knew their hearts. If there was any hope, even the slightest hope that they could be saved, even in the most celestial sense, we did not harm them. When we were confronted by people who were fully ripe in iniquity, and who would never repent, then we were free to deliver them from mortality. Their death would then be a blessing to them. Their death would be a blessing to them, because they could no longer add additional iniquity to their divine ledger.
Sorry, y'all caught me. I'm smoking. Straight up. Okay. So just keep that into the perspective, right? I know y'all do.
Message is real. But here's what it does. When you take that message to heart, and I did this for a number of years, and I promoted this message on TV. When you take it to heart, then the question becomes, okay, two things. If it's true, then we better do what's right and not be wicked, or the wrath of God will come upon us. Okay? How do we not be wicked? Well, what is wickedness?
I've been an asshole.
We start debating, well, who is the sinners, the wicked part of our country? And it causes me to look around at my fellow countrymen and start pointing fingers and start scrutinizing and be like, oh, those leaders are wicked. That group of people is wicked. Those people are trying to lead us down a non-Christian path.
Tylee, JJ, Charles, Tammy, Joe, my mom, Alex. I mean, I'm just saying. Okay. And like my cousin Cole, I mean, my family was raided. My lineage was raided. And 3 of those family members, that's facts. That's evidence. That is like real life. And then I find out that my mom, her demon zombie name is Rhonda. Okay. And I mean, before Alex died, I was outside and there were cars that would pass by. And if they passed by slow, I mean, I was ducking. I was straight up ducking. I mean, I wasn't on nobody's radar, not that I know of, but neither did Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, Joe, and anybody else who stood in their way. Brandon, you know what I mean? Like, and two of Melanie Pulowski's kids, Ruby Frankie's children, two of them that we know of. Okay. I'm still not buying on to the whole Pam Botcher thing. Okay. Straight up. Had that dream, right? I'm good. So, I mean, I do believe that people are perhaps thinking that they are doing things in righteousness, just like Rob Wood told Summer Shiflett whenever he said that, I think that what your sister thinks that what she has done has been done in righteousness. I believe it, because the distortion, Jody, right? The distorting of, or whatever the hell's going on over here. I don't really know, but I think that just, when you twist the truth, and then it becomes a big ass lie. Okay. And then the whole lie is in the room like a big elephant, and you're trying to get around it, except I don't even think they see the elephant. It's really freaky, And I mean, again, it's very interesting to, like, is it just this group of people, like-minded people, or how big is this? And I'm scared because it's, it's like I'm knocking on wood, because like, what the hell, I don't really want to know the answer to that, because I think it would be alarming. I think it is alarming, honestly. So, I mean, that's what this, in my opinion, that's what Lori's trial has been about, for me, as far as enough of the facts coming out to where people can see that these are ritualistic crimes. It's just, I don't know how, I mean, and myself included, but it's just society and how it's like the bad people or whatever, people probably practicing this stuff are gaslighting us good people or unsuspecting, we're just like, okay, whatever, I mean, it's not something you really want to just be like, oh yeah, that's so, yeah, ritual abuse, yeah, killings, yeah. No, and I mean, I don't know what makes it more depraved, you know what I mean? Like, it's murder. Murder is murder. And, but really, it's even more sadistic. And in my opinion, the death penalty should not have been removed from Lori Daybell. And, Chad keeps this up and doesn't plead guilty, he's going to have a real death experience instead of just a near-death one, Anyways.
They are the problem. And it creates justification for hating other groups of people.
Or murdering.
Quite often, the group that receive this scrutiny and hatred are the LGBTQ community.
I think just about everybody,
in a lot of Mormons' minds, sexuality is very defined and simple, and there's no nuance to it. There's no ambiguity. And so you do it this way, everything else is an abomination. And so anybody else that's advocating for gay marriage or something like that is trying.
You have to pick. You have to choose. You have to either disown your parent or parent whomever is homosexual. And I mean, this is what caused a lot of people to leave the church back in 2015. And I mean, I know it hurt a lot of people. And it continues to. So it's like, what about this family that you got going on? This whole, family is everything, and we're going to be family forever. Lori said it to Colby. She was like, I'm still to them forever, and you're just like, what? Honey, I don't think if there is a heaven, honey, you're not going there. I hope Melanie Gibb meets you there too, like you asked her to, when y'all are both standing there in front of Jesus. I'm not saying I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, boast myself either. I'm not a murderer, but whatever, just saying. And then yet in Lori's allocution, she's like, let's judge me, blah, 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 whatever the hell. It just sounded like Snoopy, the teacher. Wah, 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 wah. I was like, what? I can't believe she is still on this. She is still in the bizarre religious rabbit hole that I don't know if she fell into it. I don't know if it just, clicked for her. I don't know. I don't know if she snapped. I don't know what got to that point or how, or besides a whole lot of toxicity, it's crazy.
Trying to destroy our country because they're trying to destroy our country and our Christian values. If they're successful, the wrath of God will come down and destroy all of us. And what this is doing is it's preaching a message of fear
Mm-hmm.
and of hatred and judgment, all things that I don't see have any place in Christianity.
Right.
And this fear, hatred, and judgment causes people to act in extreme ways,
Yes.
causes you to suspend logic and judgment and reason when you're in a place of fear. Any religious leader that motivates by fear, I don't want to have anything to do
Me
with.
neither.
That's not how Christ taught. That's not how he advocated to his apostles, to other people.
You end up with
He
this.
didn't come down and say, do what I say or I'm going to
Okay.
destroy you. I'm going to wipe you out, or God is going to destroy you or wipe you out. He preached from a place of love, and he was inclusive to everybody that was the outcast of society. So if, as an American Covenant believer,
Just chilling.
I saw the people that watched my show, the people that took the American Covenant message to heart, become hardened, of course, right wing,
Uh-huh.
but hardened in their resolve to fight against those that were advancing what they deemed non-Christian principles, non-Christian ideals, and to hate their fellow countrymen. And we all know the last several years, there's been so much division, so much hatred, and so much finger pointing. That's not a message that's productive anymore. It's not productive at all. And I feel somewhat ashamed and disappointed that I advanced that message in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate, but that is the message of the Book of Mormon. And it's something that I never saw before until I really took a lot of reflection and looking at the results of what this doctrine of this American Covenant, this American exceptionalism does to people around me and has done to myself. Creates fear, causes me want to stockpile weapons for the coming civil war
Preppers.
that's going to predate the coming of Christ. And it creates enemies out of people that we really need to see with love and compassion and reach out with hands of understanding and resolution to even try and get through any of these conflicts in our society. So getting back to how this parallels the story of Joseph Smith.
Good point,
Joseph
Rhonda.
Smith built a movement based on the myth of the mound builders.
He's building to a point.
That question, and also American exceptionalism, but he took it so much further than this is just
extreme.
Land. He and the early saints literally believed in the second coming of Christ and that it was imminent. And because of that, destructions were imminent, as one reads in the book of Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
And when destructions and things like that are imminent, people live in a state of fear. And if you live in a state of fear, you're not going to be in a good place, and you're going to do drastic things. You're going to uproot your house. You're going to throw away your life, join this movement, move across the plains.
I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at
a
those
church,
comments.
a religious movement where you feel like this is safety, because that's what the religious leaders do. They create the problem, they create the fear, but then they offer the safe harbor. Join us, be part of us, and that's what Joseph Smith did. He created safe harbor through the belief that they were going to build Zion. Zion was going to be in the middle of America, and this is so much further than American exceptionalism ever.
I mean, come on, y'all. This is what Chad's whole thing is. I mean, we're going to build New Jerusalem, right? I mean, that's what this is. That's what this Church of the Firstborn is non-existent. It's just a title. It is just, okay, Lori and Chad were sealed to one another in the temple in Mesa. Okay. They were sealed to one another. Thus, we get the James and Elena, you know what I mean? That whatever that is. We get Chad writing in, I mean, all he did was change the names, James and Elena. Okay. But I mean, still, he's talking about how him and Lori are kneeling across from one another and the officiant, yada, yada, yada. I can't really go, I don't have it memorized because I can't really even go read it because it's so gross. It's just gross, you know, and just knowing what all she not only threw away, but put in harm's way. I mean, because of her, for sure, convicted, right? She's a convicted serial killer, in my opinion. Isn't there like a number or something? I'm just saying, it's tragic all the way around because everybody loses, every single person. You know, we never get to have our loved ones ever again. Like the Frankie children, I mean, that's trauma that they're going to have to live with. They're going to live without their mother. I mean, I'm just saying that had things been different, had she been born into another, whatever, you know, things would have been possibly different. I'm just saying, you know, but that's the woulda, shoulda, coulda stuff. But I mean, that's the history, you know, I mean, it's a big indicator for what's, you know, history repeats itself, right? Especially behaviors, especially when they go unchecked, especially whenever they are never held accountable or responsible for the stuff that they are spewing, okay, at these conferences, these like-minded individuals, like-minded people seeking further knowledge. Jason Mao, Mike Stroud, John Pontius, you know, he even held some fireside. I have one of his talks too, you know, now, but he's also become the scapegoat, in my opinion, for Tom Harrison with the Visions of Glory thing. Whatever people are bitching about in this book, it's not the book that kills. Okay. It's the sick beliefs that kill. Okay. So don't get it twisted. Okay. I mean, we're not ignorant. Okay. We understand that it's people that kill people, but it's the beliefs that you're spewing that go unchecked, that you throw off onto somebody else because you never, not you, Ryan, and I'm talking to people like this, you know, who go unchecked, who, you know, okay, so the church wrote him a letter. Okay. It didn't stop him. Okay. You can't take these back. You know, you can't take these words back. But you could do something to counteract it. If you know it's doing so much damage in your community, how about that other church members? I mean, how does that feel? You could very well be the next Lori Daybell, Chad Daybell. You could be the next Ruby Frankie, Jody, well, whatever, Hildebrandt, Ruby Frankie. I mean, you could be the next one. This is not just like everyone would have you believe. And I mean, I've been fighting this for years, you know, just like, come on. Is this a cult? Is this not a cult? What is, you know, and then you're like, I mean, there's only two people that are, you know, Lori finally is convicted in one case. And then there's Chad. So where's the rest of them? Named and unnamed. Okay. You don't get to, in my opinion, you don't get to say these things. You don't get to use those charged words if you're not going to act on them. If you're not going to hold the others accountable in some way, shape, or form. Some way, shape, or form. And how Melanie Gibb approached my parents at Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing. Yo, talk about come unglued. Okay. She's lucky. She is lucky that I'm in Southwest Louisiana and she was way up there in Idaho. Okay. I couldn't reach through the Zoom and you know what I mean? I'm just, because it's fake. I know it's fake. I know it's fake. It's a front and it's all about that image, you know, can't have that pristine, or what Melanie Gibb and David Warwick and all these people perceive their image to be when we see right through them. Okay. But Melanie Gibb fooled a lot of people in the beginning. You know, they're like, oh, yeah. And I mean, I'm just like, no, no, no. You don't just get to talk your way out of this one. You don't get to practice the story and build in my opinion, build your whole, what do you call it, alibi or whatever around the things that you do know. And then go ahead and, blackmail your friends basically and say, oh, in secret recording, and Chad and Lori are in Hawaii. And she's like, oh, asking about JJ. And she's like, I've been asking about JJ. And I'm like, you have not asked about Tylee. You have not, but maybe once or twice mentioned JJ, and I'm just, anyways, it's just gross. They're gross. And I don't want anybody else to ever have to go through this. That's it. It's all, it's a labor of love. I mean, I don't hate anybody. I don't even hate Chad and Lori. I feel sorry for them, It's tragic all the way around. Nobody wins. Nobody. Love does.
Zion was going to be in the middle of America. It was going to be the New Jerusalem, and they were going to not only build Zion, which was preparatory for the second coming of Jesus Christ, but it was going to rule the entire world. And to make a long story short, Joseph Smith did the most anti-American thing that anybody could ever possibly do. In Nauvoo, he created a full-out theocracy. He became
We feel that today.
mayor of Nauvoo, while prophet and president of the church. He was the chief justice.
Conflict.
And he even appointed himself general of the Nauvoo Legion. A full-on theocracy. This is the most anti-American thing anybody could possibly do. And then once he had that power secured, he sought the presidency.
You know how, I mean, this is how I feel, and I don't want to apologize for how I feel, because I feel this. I'm just being honest with you. Okay. Don't hold it against me, please, because it's a frustrating spot to be in. I want to be able to share with you publicly. I want to be able to be open with you because I'm just being honest. But it feels like the very people that are responsible for the deaths of my family members are the same people carrying out the justice. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Just like, if you look at it, I know it's a jury of their peers, but they're not of my peers. You know what I mean? And when you have 90+% of a population, okay, with these same beliefs, going to the same temples, perhaps, maybe even allegedly, and you're going there with your polygamous, your concubine and her friends and your friends, and nobody says anything, I got a problem. And it's very real, Justice looks different for everybody. It does. And even mine would veer. It's different from what they would do, if they were here. But they're not. So I'm just one piece of this. There's other family members who feel differently, who believe differently, who have gone a totally different route than I have, and I respect their journeys. It would be nice to get that back, right?
Can you see how Americans would react hostile to that action? That this was somebody who was not only just creating a theocracy in Illinois, in a small town, but he was seeking to rule the country and the world. And this is
world domination now, right? That's
evident. We now know through the Council of 50, which was basically a group of chosen men that were, the entire world was divided under their dominion.
Sorry.
And so you have a theocratic religious leader that is now seeking the presidency.
Oh, Lord.
In
Ravina.
The most un-American way
so sorry.
that there is. We had just fought a revolutionary war to get rid of a theocratic monarchy. The King of England was also God's representative on earth. And that was preferable, honestly, by American values to what Joseph Smith created. It was the most anti-American. So the idea that America and Americans
Oh Lord.
would accept that is preposterous. And I don't think Mormons
I'm so sorry,
realize
Ravina.
that we've always thought, well, he was
Thank you.
persecuted because of our religious beliefs, because we were striving to do something good. And there's definitely good that Mormons were striving to do. But create a theocracy in the United States of America, the newly formed United States of America, and
Mm-hmm.
through Joseph Smith, was something that was intolerable to all Americans. I don't care if they're good, bad, black, or white. That was
Mm-hmm.
not something that was going to be acceptable.
Blood
and
atonement,
people
straight up, for a
react
mixed race,
hostile
mixed
to that.
marriage.
And they did. And they eventually drove the
Crazy.
Mormons out of the United States of America. They had to leave if they're going to hang on to those ideas. So to think that Mormons today are can lead the way to bring evangelicals into the fold of this idea that
My
the
girl.
American covenant is our way back to God,
Oh,
to Christian
man.
values, is pretty preposterous
It
from
is.
my point of view, based on what our history is and what the Book of Mormon says and how everything went down with Joseph
And the
Smith.
proof is in the pudding.
So the parallels to Joseph Smith and Tim Ballard are very interesting to me, because I've watched this movement of the American Covenant. I've seen people join it. It
Mhm.
resonates with a lot of people. It resonated with me
It's
early
crazy.
on for a number of years. And I've also seen that the fruits of it are conspiracy theories,
No bueno.
fear mongering, turning your neighbor into an enemy,
Judgmental.
as well as
Dark rating.
wanting to overthrow the government.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Constitution's
and
hanging by a thread. Glenn Beck.
essentially create chaos. And the Mormon Church has a role in this. They made Tim into what he is.
Part of
He
it.
was already had that message, but they made him into celebrity status,
Gotcha.
into what he is. And this goes right in line with their longer term mission of establishing Zion and the New Jerusalem.
Conspiracy,
Still in
eh?
history, still in the doctrine, the Mormon Church wants to establish Zion and the New Jerusalem in the center of the United States of America. They bought up all the lands that they can where Zion is supposed to be established, in Missouri.
It's like it's so petty, but yet it's so elaborate too, right? But then it just really checks out for me. I'm just like, yeah, I can see that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I know from researching Mormonism, before this, the only thing I knew about Mormonism was on Saturday mornings, I'd watch my cartoons, y'all. I'm 45 years old. And they had a commercial that would come on and it would say, compassion, pass it along, just like that. I mean, that's all I remember. I don't remember Lori I don't remember. They never told me they were Mormon. It wasn't a big thing. It was a non-issue. Okay. She never tried to convert me. I didn't even know. I remember asking my mom about if she knew the name of my great grandfather or her great grandfather, because he was adopted. And so Chad's rating system is flawed, okay, because JJ was adopted and my great great grandfather was adopted. So, if he's going that way, I don't know how he does his ratings. He'll have to ask Tom, I'm sure. Anyways, but I'm just saying, I asked my mom about my great great grandfather's name, and she was like, I'll ask Lori, and she didn't say it disrespectful. She just said she's Mormon, and she said they love to do genealogy work, and I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't even faze me. But come to find out, I end up with screenshots, y'all, around the same time that she would have sent that to Chad Daybell, my family lineage. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 or 5 live shots, where you take a picture, but if you like on the receiving end over here, if I push the picture down and hold it, it's like, it moves and I can hear a little sound. And I'm like, oh my God. So was I asking about the same, like the lineage of my family at the same time that Lori was sending it off to freaking Dumbbell? Or as Chris, thank you, Chris. You came in a little late. I'm just kidding. We've been needing those nicknames for a long time. Satan tacos and chins, right? Or tacos and chins. That's funny. I'll get out. Thank you. Anyways, but I'm just saying it's so weird how this all, hindsight, you're just like, whoa. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I forgot what he was even saying, but I don't know. Let me continue.
and Far West and things like that. And it's still an effort today. And Tim got wrapped up in this effort of the Mormon Church to link arms with the evangelical Christian churches in an effort that ultimately succeeded. It appeared when the Sound of Freedom movement came out, and he became a household name. And unfortunately, other controversies in his personal life and with how OUR was ran have
Thank you, Huggy Bear.
taken the shine off that spotlight. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about these parallels and this perspective, because I think it's important to understand what's going on, whether you're active Mormon or evangelical. I don't like deception happening. I don't think there's any.
I don't either. I don't like it either. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
what he's saying.
And I think this conversation needs to be above board, both with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and what they are seeking to do, and so that we all are on the same page and there's no deceptions happening.
Right.
This
open discussion.
This idea that
just saying, Chris. Freaky.
That there's
Portals.
a covenant on this land. And that there's a special requirement and God will sweep us off or destroy us if we don't abide by that covenant.
Straight up.
The last thing I'm going to say on this is that that message to me is a message of Antichrist.
Fear mongering.
Because it
Core horse.
creates
right.
divisions and enemies and judgment in the hearts of the people that take that message in their mind and the heart.
Straight up.
And
Core horror
that's
wars
not the Jesus
in the courtyard in the courtroom.
That's not the Jesus that I know. If you study his words and his sermons in the New Testament, and you put those words in your mind and see if they fit the American covenant, the American covenant story, which is all about kingdom building. That's what Joseph Smith was endeavoring to do. That's what the Mormon Church today is, to build an earthly kingdom that will
Church of the Firstborn
rule all and impose, I shouldn't say impose, but spread Christian principles
or match up bloodlines.
If that was ever to be fruitful and take place, then you could say goodbye to evangelical churches
or
if
human
church
existence.
Got to a position of power to where they could overrun and overthrow evangelical churches. That would happen. Joseph Smith said it himself from his account of the first vision, that God told him that all the Christian churches in the land were an abomination.
He has a good point at the end,
which I have found to be categorically false.
Yeah.
The messages that are in the evangelical churches that I've experienced have been overwhelmingly positive, Christ-centered, and all are based around loving your neighbor and loving God.
That's how it should be.
And I can't say that those messages are an abomination. If those churches are an abomination, then how do you explain that the Mormon history and Mormon Church says that the founding fathers were inspired, the Pilgrims and Puritans were inspired in doing God's work? All of our churches came from the Pilgrims and Puritans. The doctrines and the teachings.
Right?
And the Pilgrims and Puritans, they screwed up. They had messed up things also. They had the Salem witch trials. They took extremism and these extreme ideas to murder. And that's
still
where
do.
I see the American Covenant message going, is it's a recipe for civil war and murder. When people are in a state of fear and can justify
it's terrible
killing other people in order
come at you once, come at you twice, come at you three times. It says it right here in scriptures.
The is talking about, that's murder. And that's what Brigham Young taught with blood atonement, that you can save somebody's soul by killing them if they've been caught sinning. You can atone and save
how
their
them
soul
kids
by
did that,
their blood. That message that was taught by Brigham Young for blood atonement is another incarnation of the American Covenant, that it's that extreme. And
it's crazy.
That's
real.
not the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is not loving your neighbor. And the American Covenant message, I'm afraid, and the message of the Book of Mormon motivates and justifies people to go that extreme, to where I fear one day will commit murder, start a civil war, and bad things will
A
happen.
lot of innocent people.
But that's not Christianity. The American Covenant is not Christianity as I see it. It's one of those things where, you know, the saying is bad people will do bad things, but to get good people to do bad things, you need religion. The message of the American Covenant to me is one of those foundational religious principles that can get good people that mean well to justify doing bad things, as was evident in the Mount Meadows Massacre,
Mm-hmm.
when a group of wagon train pioneers went through territory of Utah, and over 100 of them were killed by Mormon settlers because of this doctrine that Brigham Young taught, that you can save a soul and atone for their sins by shedding their blood, and that's okay. That murder is okay. And
No, ma'am.
the people from Missouri that were in this wagon train were seen. So it says the thinking is, thou shalt not kill or
That's
shed
it.
innocent blood. But if somebody is not innocent, then you're actually doing them a favor by killing them.
Yeah, you're not. Okay, I'm just saying.
And those Mormons that are listening to this and have never heard about that, you can look it up. There's sermons from Brigham Young talking about this online.
I testify
don't
to
take my
that.
word for it.
Right.
That kind of extremism is
Not
found
good.
in this message of the American Covenant, because that's where it goes. That's what Joseph Smith taught, and Brigham Young and the early church were products of Joseph Smith. So I was a passionate believer in the American Covenant and the message of the Book of Mormon, to serve God or be swept off. I took that to heart. I thought it was a good message. I spread it around. But let me ask you this. If that's true, does God go around killing Americans that are bad? Americans that don't serve him?
And
No,
Americans?
he
I
doesn't.
mean,
We
what
have
about the
had
world?
200
You know?
years now, 193 years since the published edition of the Book of Mormon, and I don't see examples of that happening. Our country has continuously prospered. So one of two things have to be true.
Okay, just hold on to that thought real quick, and we're gonna do a real big, real quick palate cleansing. I'm sorry, I'm very tongue twisted. So this is Dark Hearts with Stacey Lee, and this is the part where she shares Tim Ballard. I'll just surprise you. Ready?
Different from Mormons everywhere else. It's very different. I will talk about that when I do one of the episodes you have all asked for, where I talk about my own experience leaving the Mormon church. I got a tidal wave of yes, you want to hear that story. I'm working on it. Well, Tim Ballard started to get his name in the press, and his status began to grow. Not only was his name getting around, it was extra special, because Tim Ballard wasn't getting famous for singing or acting. He was getting famous for doing good. He was getting famous for being a do-gooder. And there is nothing Mormons love more than being adjacent to goodness. It is crack for them. Tim started, this is so corny.
This is horrible.
Tim started making public appearances. Apparently he made one in St. George when I was living in Vegas, but he would enter the town he was appearing at to give a speech or whatever it was.
I remember this.
In a helicopter that he would have landed like in the town square.
We have to stop because do I have a treat for you. After I recorded this episode, a friend of mine contacted me that knew I was doing the episode and said, Stacey, I have photographs from this day, lots and lots of photographs. So you are in for such a treat. No one has seen these photos in years, if ever at all.
Perfect.
Enjoy. This is what really bothers me about this situation. Look at all these people coming to this event. Do you think for 1 second that any of these people thought this man was a liar and a con man? These folks were there because they thought he was doing something good,
or being
and they wanted to show their support to someone who was working hard to save children. These are good people. These are decent people that thought they were supporting a good cause, and they got took. And it makes me really angry.
Yeah, I agree, Zero. But look at that face, though.
Oh,
look
my goodness. You guys, I'm sorry. I just think this is the dorkiest.
You think he'd wear some sunglasses?
This is one of the most uncool things I think I've ever seen in my life. I have never seen anyone so desperate to be worshipped and treated like a hero. This is the corniest freaking thing I have ever seen. I feel bad for the people that went, and I'm sure some of them still support him and are mad at the things that I'm saying, and I couldn't care less. This is my opinion. I think this is so dorky and so telling of how badly he wanted to be treated like a hero. And can we get him a t-shirt that fits? This is really, really embarrassing to me. I just don't know what else to say. And then, of course, you know, we've got the hero worship imagery, these signs, these photos.
Helicopter.
And then, of course, him hugging Sean Reyes, our state attorney general, who he later destroys.
Brown chicken, brown cow, right?
I am sorry. I just think that is so
So yeah, y'all go subscribe to her. Let me grab this link and I'll share it in the chat. Let me switch back to the very end of Ryan Fisher's. I just really appreciate him for this. I really do. I give credit where credit's due. And I think this guy is being genuine. I don't see where he's gaining anything or losing anything. I don't know what his motives are. They seem, I don't know this guy, but from all the people who have spoke out, yeah, kind of, even not really, just mainly to distance themselves, kind of like what happened in Chad and Lori's case. Everybody just kind of, you know, they just started privating videos that Chad, you know, his whole glimpses beyond the veil, or whatever the hell, his glimpses series, about his communications with dead people. Okay. I mean, that disappeared. And I mean, these people are just sitting on it, you know, just chilling, sitting there saying, no, well, we didn't know anything, but you know, we're all probably in Rexburg, you know, for sure. It would have to be the weekend that JJ was murdered. That's why David and Melanie allegedly went up there. So just saying, it's very convenient.
Either the Christians that are on the promised land in the heartland of the United States, or all of the United States, are living in accordance with the covenant because we are continuously blessed and we have not received the wrath of God yet, or the American covenant is a myth.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those two things. 193 years of data points now, and I don't see
Yeah,
the American
you did,
covenant
Chris.
or the wrath of God coming down upon Americans. It just hasn't happened. So either
Oh,
we're
no.
living in
Yeah.
accordance with American covenant and we are a righteous people, or the American covenant is a myth.
Here's that link for Stacy.
Yeah, so that's central theme of the Book of Mormon. I don't see playing out
Hey, Janelle.
in the last 200 years, and that's all I can say. You may see it totally different, and that would be fine. So
Thank you, Deneen. I think so too.
what else should I comment on this?
Good.
I would just say that if you have a desire to
Girl,
restore
you dodged a bullet.
true Christianity and bring our country into a place of righteousness, of goodness, of decency, then there's only one place to fight that battle, and that's in the silent chambers of your own heart. The Pharisees asked Jesus on one occasion, they're like, when is the kingdom of God going to come? And how's it going to come?
I want to shake your husband's hand.
Asking because the Romans were ruling over them. They're an unrighteous.
Hey, love. Good to have you here, girl.
That was in possession of their promised land. And they're like, when is the kingdom of God going to come? When are we going to come down and wipe out all of these evil Romans? And Christ's answer was really interesting. Paraphrasing, he said that the kingdom of God is not going to come by observable means. Why? Because the kingdom of God is within you. That's where the kingdom of God is established. It's not the Council of 50. It's not the New Jerusalem. It's not established in Zion. It all exists in the hearts of the people. And so if you want to go on a crusade to save our country, to save our society, to establish Christian values and things like that, the only battlefront is in the silent chambers of your own heart. That's what Christ was talking about. And that's where I've come to my personal conclusions on this, that there's no room in Christianity for a message of the American covenant, for American exceptionalism. And if there's anything that I hope you take away from this, is I think we need a lot more compassion. We need a lot more sincere dialogue, seeking resolutions for our problems, and a lot less fear-mongering, finger pointing, and hate, which has kind of swept our discord and dialogue today. So, where do we go from here? All I can say is to all of my supporters and watchers of my TV show and that have followed me over the years, seek to know the Jesus of the Bible. Take his messages and his teachings, put them in your mind and your heart, and let them just percolate and sit there. And then ponder them
marinate
prayerfully and see what comes out of that. Then evaluate all other messages that come from any religious church leader inside the church, outside the church, Deseret's #1 published author, and see if they cause you to feel more compassion and love for your fellow men, or something else. And if it's something else, then I would run away from that message.
I think so too, Huggy Bear.
Seek something else. A good way to do this is to find a local evangelical church that talks about the Bible and talks about Jesus. They're not going to bash your Mormon beliefs. You can be both in the church
Isn't that nice?
and part of the evangelical, in the Mormon church and part of the evangelical community. Totally acceptable. They just want to talk about Jesus and have his message of love,
The little kid.
and compassion for your fellow men to spread in our communities, and I champion that cause. So hopefully this was helpful in some way to
Thank you, Rhonda.
clear the air and maybe enter some ideas in this conversation that haven't been
Hey,
talked
little
about.
kid.
And appreciate the time if you're listening to this whole rant. And hopefully we can get to a place that's not so ugly in our discords, but actually move in some productive direction. Thanks.
All right, y'all. I mean, so yeah, let me grab that link again. I really, I mean, again, y'all know I mainly just harp on people, but I mean, again, I'll give credit where credit's due, and I this is just me. Do your own discernment, you know. I feel like he's coming from a very heartfelt place, you know, like it's not to, hey, look at me, I, me. It's like, this is how I saw it, you know, you know, I mean, and he did it without being trashy or, and like doing the whole character assassination that we see all the time. So, I mean, he didn't trash talk Tim. He just told it like it was. I mean, I appreciate that big time, because I mean, even if it didn't validate anything for me, I mean, out of everybody, Jimmy Rex, Paul Hutchinson, I mean, Russell Brunson, you know, but I don't really know his gig, you know, but I'm just saying he just seems the most sincere. So, I appreciate you guys. Yeah. Taking the time, you know, to kind of go over this with me. And I know people are going to bitch in the comments and be like, oh my God, you talked over him. Yeah, it's commentary. But, and if not, I'd be stopping it every 2 seconds because I mean, it's true. You know, he spoke a lot of truth. And then again, there's a lot of the history that I'm just like, yeah, I don't really know how to fact check that. So, but then again, it's the delivery. It's how he, you know, what he was saying. That I did connect with. I mean, and then the whole thing about the judging and the rating, pretty much, the wheats and the tares, right? You know, if you're not for us, you're against us. If you're not for us, then you're a pedophile. What? Oh my God, you know, Lori, to Charles, if you're not for me, basically cheating, I guess, then I'm gonna take you down, dude, and take your money and the kids, and you can't have them, but that, just like how Lori told Kelsey, Colby's Lori's daughter-in-law at the time, and she said, Jesus loves me. Wait, Jesus loves you, but he loves me more. I'm like, what the fuck? And so going into this, kids are missing, and I mean, here we're trying to track down Chad and Lori. Mom and Larry made public Facebook posts and stuff, and they were like, please get this to Chad and Lori, and I mean, they pleaded with them and him as a grandfather, as a man, alleged man. I'm just saying, the only time Chad Daybell, in my opinion, or chins and tacos, thanks, Chris. I mean, the only time Chad Daybell has ever, in my opinion, been chivalrous was when him and his attorney were like, ladies first. And then I'm going to send my attorney in there, to just learn how we're going to, how the state's going to present their case, so I can try and finagle out of it, because that's what demons do. I'm just saying. So that is the only time Chad Daybell has been chivalrous. He don't hold a candle up to my uncle. I mean, okay, if so, it's inverted. Everything they do is inverted, and it's self-serving. It's for themselves. It's never been about Tammy. It's never been about Charles, Tylee, JJ, Tammy, any of us, any of you, any of the court staff, any of the law enforcement, anybody. They don't care. They don't care. As long as they get their day in court, right? Well, here you go. Here you go, bub. Here you go. Ladies first. You saw what she got. It's coming to you. Real death experience. Not no near death. We're not going to half-ass this. We're going to whole-ass it. Welcome. So, again, yeah, I know, Illuminating Ink. I know. Okay. So, y'all got to know about the whole 7 Salems, right? Chad lived in Salem, Idaho. It was, I mean, D-Day is tomorrow, y'all. I wonder how many, and I really pray to God that all anybody with these extreme beliefs, just it's called a solar system and planets, and this is what they do, and it's cycles, and I don't know all the words. Okay, I can't know everything. Oh my God, I've dabbled just about in every subject, I swear, briefly, but this is the line of totality. Tomorrow is the where X marks the spot, basically, and it's supposed to the eclipse, the line of totality, or pathway to Zion, even. I mean, it's called all kinds of different things. I've read about it. I just can't remember it right now. I've got screenshots galore, but I mean, it's all about this where X marks the spot, and it's going to go over what is it, Jackson, Missouri, or whatever, right? Again, I'm trying to think of all the things, but it's slipping me right now. If Jason don't stop banging on whatever the hell he's banging on, he's going to have a pathway to totality right here. I'm joking. He's not. Hey, Natalie. Yeah, they're still doing jury selection. They are. But it's not going to be televised because Judge Boyce here. Let me pull the graphic right that I made. If I can find it again. Y'all hear him? He's like bang, bang, bang. Okay, here it is. Jeez. All right. It says, and so this is an order that came out today. I want to say, yeah. And actually it says 4/5. Huh. He snuck it in on us. But anyways, and so this is, I wrote this on the side. I put, per a directive from Judge Boyce, live streaming from the court will not be possible due to the large prospective jury panel. Y'all, we want Chad to have the best jury, the best adjudication experience, okay? Because that's less snags in the future, okay? I mean, we don't want to have to look at his chins and tacos I mean, that's enough. Okay. Due to the large perspective jury panel. However, the court will remain open to the public and will follow the court's ticketing reservation system. The decision to not allow cameras during the preemptory challenge is to safeguard the anonymity of potential jury members throughout the process. So there will not be any live streaming feed. Usually Judge Boyce streams it from his YouTube channel. So we're not going to have anything to show you. So what we will show you, we will go live still at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So whatever that is, that's 11. Oh my God, Jason, that's 11 Central. That's 12 Eastern. And then that's 10 Pacific, I do believe. And so we'll go live and we'll just give updates, kind of like how, if anybody familiar with KJ, how she would read the tweets during Lori's trial. Okay. So we're just going to kind of hang out and chill and probably make a lot of jokes, much needed, they're so welcome. You're welcome here. And I appreciate you guys for being here. I'd already made a damn thumbnail. Okay. Morning session. So I will schedule this whenever I end this live today. And y'all want to laugh? Okay, let's laugh. It's time to laugh. Lottie-dottie. Right? Okay, yeah. I remember grabbing I don't even know where I got it from, but it's been circulating in my screenshots. Lord knows I have terabytes and screenshots. Okay, because just like we just heard from Ryan Fisher, okay, scrub-a-dub-dub. Them scrubbing bubbles, they are miraculous, I tell you. Okay, because everything disappears. So I screenshot and I screen record everything. I don't trust. So anyways, hopefully we'll be doing opening statements. Hopefully. I haven't watched anybody to see what their take on it is. I would say, if they can jam through it tomorrow, then hopefully we can be doing opening statements by Chin and Taco Tuesday, right? Yeah. Today is Sunday. And so there's that ugly mug, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. And no. James and Elena, huh? And I mean, have any of you guys been like, oh, was it worth it? Right? No. Either way, it was not worth it. So many, you get a divorce, you check yourself into a mental place, and just be like, hey, I'm having some really bad thoughts. And yeah. But then there's everybody, the echo chambers, right? Everybody around them is just like, no, you're fine. And, Lori's like, hey, family, just ignore Charles, I'm just going to make up a bunch of shit. And then you're going to believe me because, 14 years married, nothing. It's nothing. Believe me, right? And I mean, I understand that it can happen in a family. It kind of does more than it don't. And anyways, but I mean, it's just to the extremes, right? So justice for Tylee and JJ, and for Tammy. I appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get to the other one right here. It's for Tammy and Joshua JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Beautiful people, 3 beautiful souls who are not here to light up the world around them like they did when they were here. We miss them. Tylee would be in her 20s. JJ, I lose track, y'all. It's like 11 or 12. I don't even know their ages anymore. Tammy would have made it past her 50th birthday. I mean, she would be able to love on her grandbabies. Tylee would be able to, I picture her in her Jeep with her top down and the sun beaming down on her freckled face and just cruising with the radio turned up and just everybody in the rear view, just free, young and free. And JJ, I mean, he lit up our world, you know. This was my only nephew. I don't have any more. And I mean, for those of you that don't know, there was a time whenever Mandy, JJ's biological mom, she got pregnant again after JJ was born, and JJ was adopted by his great uncle, Charles, my uncle Charles, and my aunt Lori, right? Well, Mandy was pregnant, but it was not my brother's, so it was JJ's half sibling, and Lori wanted to adopt her also, and she even told me a name, Tabitha. So there would have been maybe 3 gravesites on Chad Daybell's property. I'm just throwing that out there. If things would have just, you know, happened the way that whatever she wanted at the time. And I mean, I thought at the time, I was like, oh, wow, you know, that's big time, you know. I mean, it just really is to take in a whole other kid and adopt them too. And then, you know, JJ would have his half sister. That little girl is alive. Okay. Because unanswered prayers, right? Thank God. So, Tammy was 49, right? Pretty sure. Her birthday is the day after mine. She was born in what, 1970? I'm 45. I don't really know. I don't do the math. I'd have to do it off camera. You know, I do believe, because Chad said that she would die before her 50th birthday, and he told that to more than one person, to more than 5, for sure. So, anyways, I really do appreciate you guys being here. Hey, Natalie. I just remember Chad telling his neighbor she would die before she was 50. Yeah, Todd Gilbert. You know, he came and subscribed to the channel. I don't know if he's still here. If you are, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert. What I think is sad is he did it for love. He helped them, paid her bills, all of them. Wherever Lori and Charles moved is wherever Barry and Janice moved. I slept under the same roof with these people, y'all. I'm like, that is freaky. I mean, just saying. I mean, 2 children. I'm just saying, from Barry and Janice's perspective, 2 of your, let's see how many, 1, 2, would they have 5 or 6? Alex, Adam, Lori, Summer, Laura, and Stacy. That's 6 kids. 2, so 1/3 of your kids, you know, red rum. It's kind of freaky. He sang it on the bus. I mean, and I don't know what song that is. A Paul. I don't know. I don't know what song it is. I would love to know if anybody knows. I'll go grab it. Real quick. We'll end with some Tylee and JJ stuff. And I mean, again, you know, Tylee was my step cousin. I get a lot of shit in the comments, y'all. Like, it's crazy how people are just so, I don't know, ignorant and rude. I mean, it's like rude, and it's like downright cruel. You know, they'll say stuff like, you didn't love Tylee. And I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? Do you even know who are you? I mean, it just is so weird. Anyways, so I have to pick and choose when I'm gonna go look in the comments, because I just can't, I don't know. I'm just like, why would you say that? You know, I have a good idea though. Let's see if you know what I mean. I had one lady today, she was like, I'm going to unsubscribe because it's like a pick and choose. I'm like, I'm not making you pick and choose. You're welcome to stay here. Whatever, you know, free will, boo. It's very weird. And I don't know why the whole ganging up, and that's what Lori did, you know, like that's what narcissists do. In my opinion, they like pit people against one another. And so whether it's actually coming from where I think it may be coming from, sometimes people just take it upon themselves to kind of, I don't know. I don't know if they think they're being noble or what. But again, it goes back to this whole don't be a shitty person, I mean, I don't know anybody else or strangers and just be like, you didn't such and such, I'm like, what? You don't know me. All right, I'm trying to get to it. Yeah, I had some that were on private. Now I didn't know why they were still on private. So this morning whatever I saw, I let it go. So, nothing big, just oh yeah, this one's kind of long, but it kind of messed up whenever I did it. So let's see. Let me go and hide my.
Then my biggest job here on earth is to nurture my children and to care for them so that I can disappear. Why am I working on all of these qualities? Because I am not needed in the afterlife. My Heavenly Mother does not answer my prayers or succor my needs. A man does that. My Heavenly Mother is absent, vacant, lost, gone forever, never to be heard from again. And so it's very shallow to tell me that this is my God-given role. It's just to vanish. And as you see this, I think, the higher up men get in the church, the more their wives just disappear. There are no state funerals for their wives. There are no accolades for them. They don't have a prominent position. They just vanish. The best wife is sitting in the back quietly, just helping her husband shine. And that's so offensive to me. What do I aspire to as a woman? What? I can be a good mother here on earth. I get that. And I enjoy that. Don't get me wrong. I love my children. I absolutely love nurturing them and loving them. But I'm just preparing them for the day when they can be loved and nurtured by men only, because I will not exist for them ever again. And I wish there were answers. I think, how do I answer this? In fact, that's my biggest reservation. And it bleeds into so many of the other remarks that were given that day, because we had Elder Nelson, just women, we're going to need you, on and on and on. And then all the way to Elder Hollins, Behold Thy Mother, which is the topic of mothers is so filled with emotion. But, we have this glorified, perfected version of what a mother does, and that is really unattainable. Essentially, you cannot succeed as a mother, and you can't feel successful about your efforts unless your children are 100% in the church all the time. And you should give everything to make sure that they accomplish that. For every woman, that's impossible. So you've set everybody up for a problem that they'll never be able to surmount, a mountain they will never be able to climb. And I find it laughable because we do believe that our heavenly parents lost 1/3 of their children in the war in heaven, which means that our own Heavenly Mother is a failure, 33% of the time. So I don't know why we have this 100% kind of attitude about it, and that anything less means you're a failure, but that's what we preach all the time. But you can tell me that this is my job, but I just no longer believe it. I just no longer believe that it extends beyond. And when you come and preach to me and tell me that you as a man understand, the fact that you don't call in the wife to the Quorum of the 12 tells me you do not understand, and you are not listening, and you probably don't care.
Does this sound to you like an organization that doesn't value women?
Life, you've taken my disguise. You want me to be just me. Now I'm ready. Life, you forced me back to basics. I have lost my instincts. My back hurts, and my pelvis pains like thunderbolts remind me. Who is she? I promise I I'll be brave enough. Hey, inner child, I'm sorry that it took a while. I've forgotten how new ground feels. You asked me to dance, I don't stand a chance. Take me back, oh life. I long for you to move me. Now I vow sacredly, I'm ready for it. All my back hurts, and my pelvis pains like thunderbolts remind me, who is she? I promise I'll be brave enough. Hey, inner child, I'm sorry that it took a while. Life, I depend upon this. I long to be real and somewhat new. Lend me the return key, life. It's already been half my life.
Okay, yeah. So my transitions didn't work on that for some reason. And when I uploaded it back when Lori was sentenced, and I mean, I had like all, the family pictures that I could find on the internet that were available. And so I don't know why I did that. And anyway, so all you got was the music and the lady who was a mother speaking about how Mormonism just kind of, I mean, I feel like that's what happened with Tammy. I know I didn't even finish my sentence because it's hard to even say. She needs an abbot. She needs her children. In my opinion, I know that they're doing their thing, and I know they're on. And I'm not judging. It just seems so. It's got to be just torturous to be so torn. Like she needs a voice. She needs her voice. And I just want to say that I think that Tammy's aunt is just beautiful in bringing Tammy out. And I really appreciate her for that because I don't even know Tammy. But I mean, I almost share a birthday with this woman. And I mean, not to mention all these other bad things, and it, I don't know. For somebody I didn't know, just like Joe, I didn't know them, but they are very much a part of this story, my story, their story, and anyways, it's crazy. Yeah. I watched her on Hidden True Crime last night, and just the way she looked, I was like, oh my God, it's like she did bring Tammy to life. And that's what you guys have created for me here is, I've been told that whenever you stop speaking your loved ones' names is when they truly die. Their spirit is still very much amongst us and with us. And that's because you allow me to talk about it. You allow Miss Vicky to talk about, or Aunt Vicky, you allow my mom and Larry, Annie, you allow, all of us. I know I'm not going to name everybody because I mean, there's a lot of us, and you guys, y'all have provided me a safe place, and y'all don't judge me and y'all don't come down on me so hard. I mean, and I just really appreciate y'all for that. Again, it's not about me, but it's about them. And I love when they are a part of this conversation, and they're at the heart of it every damn day. So, let me go back to this one. This one is one I made up entirely. Hopefully, I changed the music because if I might have to mute it because I don't want to have to. I'll have to preserve or reserve one video where I can just unleash and just play whatever the hell I want. That whole 6-hour sentencing we did of Lori, the whole thing, I played all kinds of music, and yeah, they're like copyright. Anyways. Make it. Okay, hold on. One more. We're gonna go out with a Oh, let me do this so y'all don't get sick. Yay. Right, I'll do this. So I meant to be looking for the other one, but I was typing and watching it. It's just sad. That damn music, boy. The last song got me. It always does. Here we go. I think this will work. Reminds me of my brother so much. You hear Tyler?
I was trying to calm what he's doing this weekend.
You got the lion?
Hey, buddy!
Hey, Mama! Hi, Papa! You have secrets! Give me a hug! Little lion! Hey, Papa! Yeah! Give me Papa!
Come here and give me a hug.
That's
awesome. Oh, my man. I love you so much. Oh, look how big you are.
Yeah, give me another hug. Secrets!
You are. Where's your jacket, buddy? Oh, there it is.
Secrets! You lion!
You want Papa to carry it?
Hey, JJ, Joshua, up here, buddy. Come here. Turn around. Okay. Look at Mama. JJ. Hey. Come on. JJ, look here. JJ, look here. Look at Mama. Look here. Thank you. Look at Mama. Say cheese. Good job.
Love you from my heart. Thank you.
Lips, Ashlyn's hair. Beautiful.
Go.
Beautiful. Show your bear. I'll send this to you, Mom. JJ, say hi, Aunt Crescia.
He goes, hi, Crescia.
No, say hi, Aunt Crescia.
Hi, Crescia.
Say Aunt Crescia. Hey, dude, come here.
Oh, lolly, 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 lollipop.
I guess that'll be about
Bum,
as good
bum.
as he'll get. If he does something later, I'll send it to you. Anyway, we're getting ready to go
Bye,
to
Mom.
Knott's Berry Farm. Tell her where we're going today.
We're going to Knott's Berry Farm. All these
And
humongous roller coasters.
and
Huh?
and
And,
the beach.
oh, and the beach. The Pacific Ocean. 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 Hey! No, Paul! No touching and no toys! No! No touching and no! No touching.
Okay, yeah. It cracks me up with the dog. He's like, no touching and no, yeah. Reminds me of me when I was a kid. And I didn't even realize all this stuff until they were missing and or murdered. And, you know, I go and when I would edit these videos, just starting out, right? And you notice things that you had never noticed before. With all of them, you know, and I really connected with JJ. Just like I think Todd looks like my uncles, you know, he looks a little bit, sometimes you'll see him in Uncle Troll, sometimes you'll see him in Uncle Bobby, sometimes, you know, and sometimes I'll see my son and my brother and my son, you know, I mean, it's the way it works, I guess. And I've had people comment and say that JJ favors me. I'm like, what? I mean, his birth mother said that. And I was like, you're not right, you know, but then you're like, whoa, yeah, sometimes, you know, they go through phases, and they grow. But anyways, so love always wins. That's something my Uncle Charles said in his email to his attorney saying that he was taking Lori back. He said, what can I say, Taylor? Love always wins. And I mean, some people can say, how did it win? And how did it win? He was murdered. You know, how'd that work out for you, buddy? And I just think it's the act, you know, if you do it with your heart, I mean, it's all that matters at the end of the day, at the end of your life. When you take your last breath, it is the only thing that matters. You can't take anything with you, nothing, you know? And I mean, it's priceless, you know, how we can pass that to other people. And I just love that you guys are, you're my people. And I love you guys so very much. Love always wins. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Court. We'll do X court, you know, tweet court. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.